Yo, 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 yo. We are live and alive. We're live a little early because JD Vance is talking about our complete and utter, possibly worst humiliation in United States history with this Iran deal. Let's get into what he's saying right the fuck now.
0.5 million barrels of oil went through the Strait of Hormuz. That is a high since the beginning of the conflict. Oil prices are down nearly at their level from the pre-war conflict. Gas prices dropped below $4 a gallon today for the first time since the conflict. And importantly, they're going to keep falling further given how low oil prices are. On the military side, the Iranians, for the second night in a row, did not shoot at any ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So far, they are honoring their end of the commitment. And on the blockade, CENTCOM has allowed north of a dozen ships to go through
This is
our
crazy.
naval blockade, and so we're also honoring
Absolutely
our end
crazy.
of the early part of the agreement. On the military side, a couple of things that are still true and will be true whether the Iranians comply with the rest of the deal or not. Number one, their nuclear program has been completely destroyed. Their capacity for enrichment, the facilities at which they were using to develop enrichment and develop a potential nuclear weapon, those facilities are still destroyed. Their conventional...
He really sent JD Vance out here to say all this because of the fact that this is like one of the most, if not the most, embarrassing things that the United States has ever fucking done in its entire history. This is the most embarrassing thing that we have done as a country when it comes to global conflicts. We are being embarrassed, straight belt to ass.
Their capacity to threaten their neighbors is still largely gone. And now we see whether they are willing to comply with the next step of the president's peace plan. As you all know, the part of the peace plan, the part of this MOU that I think have been most misrepresented by certain parts of the media is the idea that the Iranians get all these benefits. You hear things about $300 billion or $24 billion.
Yo. We live right now. JD Vance is explaining the U.S.'s complete and utter surrender to Iran and how we're about to give them $300 billion. Notice how Trump isn't talking about this. It's JD Vance is talking about this. So he doesn't want to get the backlash for it.
Or this or that number of money or amount of money. And the simple fact is that the only way the Iranians get any of those resources, not a single penny, by the way, from the United States of America under any circumstances, but the only way that they would ever get any benefit of the bargain is if they comply fully and change their behavior.
We're giving them $300 billion with a B. This is life-changing money. We are turning Iran from a dysfunctional state to possibly a middle power and possibly even a superpower.
And so you really have a win-win situation for the United States of America. If the Iranians don't change their behavior, their military and their nuclear program is still destroyed. If they do change their behavior, then they are going to have a transformative relationship with the Middle East, and the Middle East will have a transformative relationship with the people of Iran. That's a win for the American people and for the President of the United States, regardless of which option the Iranians ultimately choose. We obviously want them to choose the right option. The interesting thing about their system, and I think it's important for the American people to appreciate this point in particular, is that there are real divisions within their country about how exactly to proceed. And what we've seen over the last couple of months is that the pragmatists within the Iranian system, the people who really do want to transform their relationship with the Middle East and with the world, those people are winning the argument. The United States wants those people to win the argument. The United States wants to have a better relationship, but in order for that to happen, the Iranians have to perform. And if they don't perform, as we've said before, they don't get any...
Yo, this dude, whenever he starts spitting his word salad, I feel like I get worse and worse every single time.
The benefits of the bargain. So what I'd ask all of you is just to report honestly that the United States isn't giving up a cent of money to Iran, and even the economic benefits, the sanctions relief and so forth.
We're giving them almost $500 billion. We went into this country. We pulled up, killed an 80-year-old man, murked the whole elementary school, got multiple U.S. soldiers killed on behalf of Israel, accomplished diddly squat, zero. And then now we're paying them $300 billion, nigga. It's the art of the deal. You already know what the fuck going on. The art of the motherfucking deal.
That comes along with this bargain.
This is crazy.
Only happens if
this is by far the most embarrassing Middle Eastern thing that we have ever done. Not even counting, obviously Iraq is extremely embarrassing, but this is like Iraq, except we just, I don't even know. Like, we didn't even accomplish the fact of overthrowing the Saddam's government. We just pulled up to Iraq, blew shit up, and then gave up.
If the Iranians perform. So with that, I want to say thanks to all of you. It's good to be with you this morning, and I'll kick it over to questions. Let's start right over here to the right.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I wanted to ask a follow-up on something.
Bro gonna get grilled.
You talked about the possibility of the current Iranian leadership fundamentally changing their behavior. Do you think that the current Iranian leadership recognizes the leverage that the U.S. holds over itself economically and militarily enough to actually go forth with fundamentally changing their behavior over the long term and going about things differently?
So I certainly think they recognize the leverage that the United States has over them. We've seen that in a number of our conversations. We've seen that just in their behavior over the last couple of days. They certainly
Bro looks a little disheveled. The Ozempic's not really hitting bro too hard. Like, goddamn.
That the United States has great leverage. Will that ultimately lead to a change in behavior? I don't know. I've seen skeptics of the deal. People say the Iranians will never change their behavior. Well, maybe that's true. And if so, they don't get any of the benefits of the bargain. But isn't it
like the benefits of the bargain? How are you saying they're not going to get $300 billion? But like, it's simple math. It's 1 + 2 = 3, yo. The math is like this. You're gonna, they're not, they have control over the Strait of Hormuz. They're not giving it up for free. This isn't just like some bootleg deal where they're just not going to give it up and like we're just going to go along our merry way and let Israel just wreak havoc. Hell no. They're getting some money out of this shit and we're giving them $300 billion. Whether or not you want to say it's from American dollars or whether or not you want to say it's from our UAE partners, we're giving them $300 billion. It's going to be enough money in that motherfucker to build 15 billion Shahed drones.
Worth trying? Isn't it worth seeing whether this incredibly weakened position that the President of the United States has put the Iranians under, whether that motivates them to change their behavior, not just vis-a-vis the West, but vis-a-vis the Middle East? And one of the interesting things about this is, the technical details of this we can, of course, get into. There are any number of opinions about the negotiation, about where it's ultimately going to go. But I tend to think that you should trust the people who know the Iranians the best and who have the most to lose. What are the Gulf Arab states saying about this deal? What are they saying about this deal compared to the JCPOA in 2015? This is the Obama nuclear deal. Well, back then,
it didn't really seem like they were complaining it like that.
They felt like it empowered the Iranians to be bad actors across the region. And of course, that's exactly what happened. They were right about that. What are they saying about the president's peace deal? They're saying this is an amazingly transformative.
Dude, they gave the president a fucking plane just to glaze him over. Regardless, they're not going to say anything like against him or anything like that, man.
For the region, because either way, we and the broader region win. Iran is weakened, their nuclear program destroyed, their economy in desperate straits, and if they change their behavior, big things are going to happen for Iran and for the world. If they don't, no skin off our backs. Either way,
no skin off our backs. We're just giving them $300 billion. No skin, slight work. We could have used that shit for healthcare. Hell no, we sending that shit to the motherfucking Ayatollah gang.
Win, and that's
over
the way
some stupidity.
Set up this deal and this negotiation.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just a quick housekeeping question, which I think you answered in your top. But did the 60-day period officially begin
You already
yesterday?
know, Ski.
I would say the 60-day period officially started today. It was signed late, and it may have even been signed technically. Because of the time shift, I think it signed technically today, Iran time. So, yes, the deal started yesterday. We're going to start the 60-day clock today.
It seems that Israel's not really abiding by this shit, though.
Go ahead.
Can you help us understand President Trump's
Help us
shift
understand
on his
anything.
stance for Iran's ballistic missile program?
That shit was
Initially,
funny.
it was a key objective to dismantle it. Yesterday, he said it would only be fair
if they had some, if the countries around Iran also had some. So when and why did that change? And will the final agreement have any restrictions on these missiles?
So we destroyed a substantial number of their ballistic missiles and their
Every single time they talk, they're talking about how they destroyed all these ballistic missiles and shit like that, but it's not the case, because otherwise, I mean, we wouldn't be in this predicament at this current point.
Themselves. It's not just the bullets, but it's the actual gun. And that's what we were extremely effective at in destroying during the last 3 months of the campaign. All the president said yesterday is all countries don't give up the right of self-defense. Israel doesn't give up the right of self-defense if Hezbollah fires rockets or drones at Israel. The Iranians don't give up the right of self-defense.
But in reality, that's what Israel wanted them to do. But in reality, that's what Israel... Want to check the sound
missiles that can broadly threaten the entire world. And that's what the President of the United States said yesterday. And look, I mean, it's very simple. You can't tell a country, whether Israel or Iran, they're not allowed to have any self-defense. That's not what the President
That's what y'all were trying to do earlier.
Requested, but as part of the final deal, what we want to see...
That's literally what they were trying to do earlier.
Instability, funding regional terrorism, and of course trying to rebuild their nuclear weapons program. That's the main thing.
This cope is wild.
The nuclear weapons program is destroyed. It is gone. If the Iranians decided tomorrow to build a nuclear weapon, they simply don't have the capacity in order to do that. What we're trying to ensure is they don't rebuild that capacity, not just a year from now, 2 years from now, but many, many years from now, so that our children never have to worry about a state sponsor of terrorism having a nuclear weapon.
I honestly don't think that they had to worry about that shit. Like on the dead homies, they didn't have to worry about that shit, man.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You were just saying that you're hoping this deal would prevent Iran in the future from getting a nuclear weapon. But from what's been put out there of the MOU, I'm curious, how does the MOU reflect that in the future Iran will not, in fact, get a nuclear weapon? What's stopping them from down the road, to your point, rebuilding? And
they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're completely out of their goddamn element, man.
And restarting from where we were pre the war.
Well, number one, they would have to get a lot of money in order to rebuild a nuclear program. You're talking about billions and billions of nuclear infrastructure that the United States destroyed. In order for them to rebuild that program, they would have to get a lot of money. And we have them in an economic chokehold right now that we're not going to release.
Yeah. It's not like they have us in an economic chokehold, though, right?
Until they fundamentally change their behavior. What would that look like? That would mean a real inspections regime. That would mean a real enforcement regime. As the MOU contemplates, that would mean the destruction of their enriched stockpile. All of these things are the sorts of steps you're going to take if you're serious about ending your nuclear weapons program. And that, again, is why I go back to this fundamental trait.
They never wanted a nuclear weapons program. We made that shit up so we could have our soldiers die in the name of fucking Israel.
That's built into the deal. They need money to do anything. Their economy is in absolute dire straits. But in order for them to get any integration into the world economy, they're going to have to show us and verify for us that they are changing their behavior. And that's why the deal is set up in the way.
And then we're going to give them $300 billion.
Yes. Go ahead.
President Trump said yesterday that he was going to blame you if the talks with Iran go sideways. Are you worried that he's going to
blaming you right now?
No, not at all. I mean, I think the president was joking, but as he often does. But no, I think, look, the entire team has worked very well on this, and we've got this thing to a very good place for the American people. Now, I have seen some progressive criticisms of me personally saying, what experience does the Vice President of the United States have with hostile, high-stakes negotiations?
I don't think anyone said that.
Point those progressive critics to the fact that just 2 days ago, I spent over an hour on The View. So I actually have great experience in very hostile negotiations, and I've used that. I mean, look,
Yo, this dude has the aura of a wet paper towel.
Behar is way tougher than the Iranians, and she and I are best friends now.
She did grill him,
we're going to get to a good place here. We're going to get to a good place. We're already at a good place. It's just a question of whether we can really get the icing on the top of fundamentally transforming Iran's relationship with the world. Go ahead.
Thank you. A couple of just timing questions. How soon, as the MOU lays out, can Iran start selling any of its oil that is sort of...
Didn't they already start selling the oil right now?
And two, can you sort of explain the Lebanon component to the MOU and how that front works and the enforceability of it?
Yes, this is
so the
important.
Lebanon component, this is about regional peace, right? This is about regional peace. And what that means is we expect Hezbollah is not going to be firing rockets and firing drones at the Israelis.
Okay.
And we also expect that the Israelis are not going to be going wild in Lebanon, right? Both sides have to honor their end of the deal.
They said that they weren't going to honor the end of the deal.
Now, as you guys know, sometimes these ceasefires are a little messy. The President of the United States said this a couple of weeks ago, that a ceasefire in that region of the world just means they're shooting a little bit less at each other than they were before. What you've seen is radical progress in Lebanon, less shooting, less firing, but you're still going to have these little flare-ups from time to time, and that's just the sort of thing that we're going to have to manage through the diplomatic process.
This is like...
Secretary Rubio's been sort of the person on point. It's actually worked out extraordinarily well, because we do have substantially less shooting, but it's going to be something we have to manage. And eventually what we want to see is the Lebanese government, the elected representatives of the people of Lebanon, who are able to police southern Lebanon so that Hezbollah is not taking over the country, the Israelis are not threatened, and then consequently
Lebanon
the Israelis are not attacking southern Lebanon or Beirut.
Lebanon does not have a... I mean, they might have a standing army, but no one gives a fuck about their standing army because they don't be doing shit but being cucks to Israel. Hezbollah is the only people that are actually doing anything.
Either that's the plan there. You asked about the Iranian oil. Look, one of the interesting things that you've seen is that the Iranians have been completely unable to sell oil, not because of sanctions, but because of the blockade. Fundamentally, the thing that we have done here, the original, what we give and what they give, is that we said we're going to lift the blockade, we're going to allow you to sell some of your oil, and they're going to open the Strait of Hormuz. We see that process starting to work already. It's going to take a little time before it picks up fully, but that's where we are today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The MOU, just on the Strait, the MOU guarantees these 60 days of toll-free passage, but after that it is, of course, led to a regional dialogue with Oman and Iran deciding the future governance of the Strait. A senior U.S. official told us yesterday that they expect Iran to push aggressively on this, but also that Gulf states won't allow any kind of tolls. How strenuously will the U.S. fight to keep tolls out of the Strait and keep any fees away from the future Strait commercial traffic? And are you going to leave it to the Gulf states to kind of fight this battle?
Well, first of all, we believe international waterways should be free of tolls, and that's been our position. That's what you see, of course, in the 60 days of the MOU. And when you say it leaves it open, it doesn't really leave it open, except in the sense that, of course, the final negotiation is going to set the terms of what comes afterwards, right?
We're also going to get into Peter Thiel's Diddy list also.
You said, I think that it's the Omanis and the Iranians, but it's actually the MOU contemplates that the Omanis, the Iranians, and the Gulf Coast Coalition together will figure out a proper security framework for the Straits in the future. And what I mean by that is that we don't ever want this to happen again. Right? That's not about tolling. That's about ensuring that the Straits are never used as a choke point for the global economy ever again. It's frankly not what the Iranians want. It's not what the Omanis want.
It wouldn't have been like that if we didn't do this.
So what we're going to do, of course, working with our allies in the region, is to ensure that that is reflected in the final deal. And if that's not reflected in the final deal, there's not going to be a final deal. And that is, I keep coming back to this fundamental structural point of this negotiation, which is that we have all the cards. If the Iranians want the benefits of the bargain,
dude, if we have all the cards, then why the fuck is the Strait still closed?
They have to give us the things that are necessary to get those benefits. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
We'll do both. Okay, both you guys. There's one in the white and then one in orange. I think.
What about the pink?
I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe I'm colorblind. It looks more orange to me. I don't want to have a debate about that. Orange, pinkish. You go first, and then in front of you can go second.
Me first. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. How does the points about granting some immediate waivers on sanctions, especially from the Treasury Department, how does that square with the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act? And are you planning on briefing Congress on this portion?
Yeah, so I talked to James Braid, our head of OLA. We do plan to brief Congress very soon. I believe that they got the formal copy of the signed document this morning, and if not, they're going to get it at some point later today. We are planning a briefing. I believe right now the House is out of session, the Senate is in session, though maybe I've reversed that. But we're going to ensure that the team briefs Congress and, of course, answers their questions. We've been doing that informally, of course, talking to a number of people in Congress just over the last week. week. We'll keep on doing that, and we'll have a formal briefing. I won't say exactly when that will be because it depends a little bit about session schedule. Your point about the sanctions is I'll go back to what I said earlier, which is really the choke point on Iranian oil was never the sanctions. We didn't see that as a major concession to the Iranians. Frankly, the Iranians didn't see that as a concession to them because what prevented them from selling oil was not the sanctions. They were selling plenty of oil without any discount because the sanctions were just fundamentally ineffective at that point. What the sanctions did do is move the Iranian financial system to sort of the shadow banking system. So by lifting the blockade, that's the significant thing that has changed. And by lifting the sanctions, we're actually going to be able to see a little bit where their financial system actually sends money and receives money. That's a real benefit to the American people, and that's really the only thing that has changed by the
Tell them about the
sanctions.
$300 billion, man.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that part of the question. No, we don't think so. We actually have an opinion from OLC we feel quite confident about that, Congress does, there are certain things that require congressional approval. There are certain things that don't require congressional approval. There are certain things that don't require congressional approval. There are certain things that don't require congressional approval.
All right, we good. Let's see.
This particular MOU was signed, and how exactly is the U.S. looking at this? If we're talking about behavior on part of Iran, I mean, October 7th happened, and if there's
what the fuck does Iran have to do with October 7th?
Concern that perhaps Hezbollah could end up doing some sort of attack on that scale, then how exactly are we talking about the reaction from the United States if we're talking about perhaps a humongous scale attack that actually could happen? Are we waiting for that type of attack? I mean, what exactly is a scale?
Sorry.
This question makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
You said what exactly is a scale?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what type of attack would it take to actually get a reaction from the United States to say, okay, now we're actually going to start dropping bombs on
Yo, is this lady just saying that she wants us to keep bombing Iran?
Well, we don't want a scale of any attack. Any attack, whatever its scale, is unacceptable under this agreement. Now, you asked the question saying that oil money was flowing to Hezbollah before the MOU was signed, and it's one of the reasons why.
That question literally made no goddamn sense whatever. She literally said, when are we going to start bombing them again?
We are actually engaged in this process is to ensure that no money is flowing.
This shit is driving me to drink.
So it's interesting where people will say that the MOU is bad because the MOU produces consequences that were actually happening well before the MOU was signed. That's not a reflection on the MOU. That's a reflection of why we need the MOU to ensure that we have the regional peace and stability that we need. Now, what I would say to some of the critics of the deal,
that had to be an
extreme
extreme
Zionist
Zionist.
say, well, Iran's going to get all this benefit. I'll repeat what I've said, and I'm probably going to have to repeat it a number of times. Is what is the benefit that the Iranians get that they didn't have before? And the answer is
sanctions relief.
They don't get anything unless they change their behavior.
$300 billion.
If they change their behavior, that is a thing to celebrate. That's going to transform the Middle East for a generation. If they don't change their behavior, they don't get the benefit of the bargain. And I think I got to be honest. I think fundamentally,
what is changing their behavior?
Fundamentally, this idea that, and it's a misrepresentation of the MOU. This idea that the Iranians get all these benefits before the deal is actually consummated. The idea that they get benefits before.
So he's basically arguing on the fact that the Iranians are gonna get these these deals and these things that are helping them, the $300 billion and the sanction relief. They're asking about the very fact that we're paying them this amount of money. He's on the other hand trying to talk about, oh, they're not getting it until the deal is consummated and shit. He's trying to pretend like we don't know.
Or they change their behavior is fundamentally a talking point that is issued by people who want the conflict to continue indefinitely, despite the fact that that's not good for the American people and it's not good for the region. Way in the back.
I mean, that lady did seem like she wanted this shit to keep going till the end of time. Like, I'm not even going to cap. She was like, when are we going to start bombing them again?
All the way back in the red.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Vice President.
Red here, you mean? Are you red?
We'll do, okay, sorry.
Thank you. I'm wearing bright red.
So many people are wearing red. You can go first.
Bro's
Kara, right?
colorblind as
fuck.
Okay, and then next after
Okay,
that.
great. Could you highlight the major differences between this deal and President Obama's deal in 2015, and why the administration believes that this deal is superior? And second, Mr. Vice President, President Trump has been vocal lately about his
no, he's
disapproval
gonna start flailing. He's gonna start saying that nonsense and going word salad.
Bibi Netanyahu's attacks on Lebanon. Has the administration spoken to Bibi Netanyahu directly about the president's concerns recently, and what is the feedback from Israel?
Yeah, so we speak to Bibi or speak to somebody in the Israeli government, just as we speak to the Gulf Coast Coalition, our regional partners, pretty much every day, at least at some high level of our government. Look, the president's been very clear. He does not withdraw from Israel. No one could withdraw from another country the right of self-defense. Israel has the right to defend itself. But fundamentally, the Israelis, just like everybody else, have to respect this peace process that is fundamentally good for them and good for the
if you're not gonna force them, then there's no point in doing any of this
entire region.
Come on.
What the president gets grown frustrated sometimes is that we seem to be right on the cusp of a major breakthrough in the agreement, and then all of a sudden there's a major explosion that goes off in civilian population center in Beirut, and a lot of people who have nothing to do with Hezbollah lose their lives. That's not acceptable. That's the sort of thing that we've asked for closer coordination so that we ensure it doesn't happen. And our message to the Israelis, just as our message to everybody else, is fundamentally we want this peace process to be good for you. We do not want Hezbollah attacking Israel. But in order to ensure that that happens,
this is remarkable. They're finally, I mean, I might be naive, but that just sounded like right there that they're trying to decouple from Israel. And he just had not strong words, but he basically said, every time we've been trying to do this, Israel's been killing random ass people in fucking Beirut, in Daea. Yo, I mean, let's hope this is like real.
We have got to actually build the kind of regional framework.
I'm so confused right now because if you've been following this for this long, like there's no mention on how exactly we're gonna stop Israel from doing this shit.
They can cut off the money to Hezbollah, cut off Iranian support for Hezbollah, and also ensure that Lebanon's territorial sovereignty is respected by all parties. And the difference between the two agreements.
How are we going to do that?
So, first of all, the two big differences are not even in the substance of the deal itself. But
his
something
voice
I said
cracking.
Are, number one, the Gulf Coast Coalition loves this deal because they think that it makes Iran weaker. They hated the Obama deal because they thought that it made Iran stronger. They know more about this, and they have more to lose than anybody, including the United States of America, so I trust their judgment. The second...
So I just don't understand, and they haven't given any type of indication that has me honestly wondering, like, I am really beginning to believe that this might not actually work. Like, this is signed in such a momentous occasion and Trump needs this to work. Like, we're at our wits end, our oil reserves are down bad, and JD Vance has literally admitted that he blamed Israel for attacking random apartment complexes in Lebanon. But at the end of the day, if we don't rein in Israel, how are we going to make this deal happen? I just see all this celebration and shit. I don't understand how, and they haven't given any type of indication.
In 2015, Iran had built a sophisticated nuclear weapons program with a nuclear weapons stockpile. So the perspective that we came at as the United States was...
We went from daddy Israel to stepdaddy Iran. I mean, that's what it's turning into right now, for real. Like, it definitely seems as if we're going like trying to be full stepdad and we're like disowning Iran and shit like that. I'm just so confused about this deal though, because it's like this whole time, including this right here, they're talking about all this wishful thinking about, oh, we're doing this, we're stopping fucking Israel. We're gonna like find a framework so Iran can like do all this stuff and they're gonna get $300 billion, which is also crazy. But where is the plan on stopping Israel? Because we're going to see later in this live, like even up to yesterday, Netanyahu was saying that they're not stopping. They're still going to keep going.
You already have a really nice nuclear program. We're going to bribe you with American money in order to stop it.
Stepdaddy Iran for real though.
Our perspective and where we're coming at it is we already destroyed your nuclear program. And so, if you promise and show verifiable
destroy shit.
Pathways to not rebuild it, then we're willing to give you some sanctions relief and things like that. So it's a fundamentally different perspective. Now, there are all these substantive...
He says it's sanctions relief because he doesn't want to say that it's $300 billion that we're giving to them. I feel like that's just an important thing that we should think about. Not that I really care because reparations, but we literally... this is the art of the deal. We spent $300 billion, not to mention $1 billion a day, fighting this war just for us to blow up fucking schools, kill random elderly people, and in the end, all we did was strangle the global economy. Like, what?
Differences
This is
as well.
crazy.
The Obama nuclear deal allowed enrichment. Ours will not. The Obama deal allowed the accumulation of stockpiled weapons-grade material.
Yo, wait. I have to go back because he's coping.
We are willing to give you some sanctions relief and things like that. So it's a fundamentally different perspective. Now, there are all these substantive...
The Obama nuclear deal gave them sanctions relief. So off rip, that's the same.
As well.
Trump got pushed to sign it in France. His plan was Friday. Yo, the funny thing... Wait, you mean this Friday? They must have been worried to get back home. Also, too, he also had the plan too. Remember to sign it for his birthday, so we could be like triumphant. And I'm good. I'm powering through this fucking live shit. But there's so much funny videos of him signing that shit in France because it's like literally number one, they're signing it in Versailles, which is obviously a place that's known for terrible deals. Exactly. Like, I don't know. We're kind of like Germany in World War I type situation, signing this treaty in Versailles. I don't know if they did that on purpose to just clown him, but like that shit is crazy.
Obama nuclear deal allowed enrichment. Ours will not. The Obama deal allowed the accumulation of stockpiled weapons-grade material. Ours is actually leading to the destruction of that stockpile.
So they say that theirs is leading to the destruction of this stockpile. They don't give any specifics of how this is going to happen. And I just don't understand everyone. We totally got owned. I don't know why the YouTube chat's not popping up on this shit on the screen, but like we literally totally got owned. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait. Maybe it's the chat has to be on top and that's the reason why. Yeah, we totally got owned. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. On top of everything, it's like he's trying to say that this is different, but it's all the exact same shit.
So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money.
Yo, this is cope.
This deal gives them, Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American.
Do y'all see this? If y'all in this, do you see this? He said the Obama deal gave them $1 billion. Our deal, he said, oh, yo, you have to catch this. He says it gives them $1 billion of American money. That's what the Obama deal did. This deal doesn't give them any American money. So basically they're saying that the money's going to go to the UAE and they're trying to he's trying to frame it as if it's not our money.
That stockpile of enriched
This is
material.
hilarious.
So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American money. So a lot of substantive differences, but I think
dude, this is so... I've never seen someone just openly lying. Not even lying is the word to describe it, but like just trying to use semantics to try to hide your real ulterior motives, but terribly. Like this is like cope. The fact that this is the leaders of our country, yo, like this is... It's just embarrassing.
Most important differences are where we're coming at it from a position of strength and the fact that our Gulf Coast partners love this
Even
deal.
then,
No, sorry. I said the other, all the way in the back. Thank you.
He said we're coming at this in a position of strength, and he knows he's damn lying. This doesn't. His voice was cracking.
Doesn't behave themselves. We're going to resume military action. So, what is the red line for what Iran can do before they cross that red line and we do resume military action?
Well, it's going to be a holistic approach where we look at their behavior. Are they funding terrorism? Are they leading to attacks of other people? Are they trying to get centrifuges to redevelop their nuclear weapons program?
They're blaming Vance. But Vance stepped out. Trump could appoint whoever he wants. If something happened to Trump, he could, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, I mean, once we get through this shit too, I feel like we're gonna see Marco Rubio's response, because Marco Rubio, he's in the signing and he just looks depressed as fuck. But they're throwing Vance on the fire right now. I don't know if it's because he doesn't like Vance or some shit, or maybe because Vance it leaked. I don't know if y'all remember those leaks where like JD Vance was the one that was against the war and he was the one trying to manage the Epstein files and shit like that. I feel like part of me thinks that he's just throwing him in the fire as like a punishment. And I mean, MAGA people are troglodytes, so they might not even know what the fuck is going on. And they'll be like, I remember JD Vance. And at the end of the day, elections are not like linear. I feel like American public are so fried, they're not going to remember. But this is an attempt to make sure that he never becomes president again, because this looks terrible.
There are all these questions that we're going to ask about whether they've actually changed their behavior. Do they allow the inspectors in as they have promised that they would do, or do they refuse to allow those inspectors in? A whole host of things we're going to see. We're working towards a very successful resolution of this process. But again, it takes two to tango. And what the president's just saying is that we maintain economic, diplomatic, and military leverage that nobody else in the world has. So if the Iranians want to change, great. We're going to help them. If they don't,
let's hope they can fucking change.
We still got all the cards.
More so, I hope that like America can change.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. In the blue jacket.
This one right here. This one right here, Mr. Vice President.
That's a Navy jacket.
Bro's a little bit too happy for this cuck shit basically going on right now.
Should we have a debate about the difference between blue and navy? Not that guy.
Come
because
on,
you give
man.
a speech whenever you
We're in a fucking war.
ask a question. I'm going to give her an opportunity.
Sir, have you seen the Pope's reaction to this?
Hold on.
There's been a lot of frustration among
Guys, you're speaking over the person who's asking the question.
There's been a lot of frustrations with Americans, particularly about the gas prices. You touted the fact that they're coming down. The president has gone on True Social touting this. But when should they expect to see gas reach that $3 threshold?
Man, gas is going to take long as hell to come down. I mean, like, it has been going down, which is good. But I feel like it's just kind of wild that, like, I just hope that they don't get credit for the gas prices going down, because, like, for instance, everyone was so mad about I think we are changing. We are starting to wake up. Hell yeah, I hope so. But like, obviously people like you and me have probably been waking up, but the general public, not even like liberals, but like, you know, like just the average apolitical people, they're the ones that need to wake up. That's why I do shit like this. This is why I stream. This is why I post memes and shit. And I try to just make it cool, because it's like, it doesn't matter about the people that are hyper political, because obviously we're already tapped in. It matters about the people that you know that are like co-workers and shit like that, that don't really have opinions on politics. That's what really matters. It's like, if we could sway these people, then we could really make a difference. But a lot of people are just fried watching slop all day. So we got to reach them where they are.
Well, I'm not an economist, and I think even the economists would get this wrong, but the fact that you've seen gas come down about 65 cents a gallon on the national average, and the fact that you see oil prices that are basically close to where they were at the very beginning of the...
Bro, come on now. They be lying to us in our goddamn face.
Conflict. I think you're going to see a substantial reduction in gas prices. I'm not going to predict the exact price. If I was able to do that, I might be in a different business than politics. But we do think you're going to see significant relief at the pump on top of what we've already seen.
I mean, finally we've had some
will only reap economic rewards if they comply and change their behavior. But under this deal, they are being allowed now to sell their oil freely. Again, how is that not?
Dude, Iran is going to be a straight up powerhouse. I don't know what anyone's saying. They're going to be probably like Saudi Arabia, even more powerful than Saudi Arabia, because it's like the whole reason I think that they're doing this type of shit, obviously for Israel's greater project and everything like that. And Israel's need to commit massive war, and the U.S. needs the military-industrial complex. But I really believe that we're doing this to stop Iran from becoming an actual like global power. And it doesn't matter if they're a global power if they're subservient to the U.S. Like we coexist with a lot of actual global powers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. But it's way different to have a global power that's actually against Israel. Not in the way of Turkey is, where they kind of don't like them, but like straight up a global power that doesn't like Israel. That's why the powers that be are not fucking with this shit and doing everything in their damn power to stop this.
Financial benefit, and they're being allowed to do that without making any new concrete nuclear commitments. So can you explain how is that not lopsided?
Well, first of all, they've made very concrete nuclear commitments. They have committed to the destruction.
Yeah. Superpower in that area. I forget the word for it. I was saying superpower, but there's like another power. I don't think it's like middle power, but regional power. Like it will be like a regional power, but I want to just describe it in a way because they're about to be rich as fuck. They're getting $300 billion. The Strait is controllable by them, and they're going to have sanctions relief, and they're going to be actually, as he's saying, open to the global markets. Yeah, they beat the US too, so it's like other people in that region are gonna have to be like they basically little broed everyone because they beat the US, right? And then they just like after they beat the US, they completely hit Bahrain, they hit Kuwait, they hit Saudi Arabia, they hit the UAE, which are like, you know, supposedly the big players in the region, and the US didn't do shit to protect them. And these countries, I mean, Saudi Arabia has a standing army, but Iran would murk the fuck out of them. So it's like, at the end of the day, Iran's like at least going to be on some Pakistan-like level. And Pakistan's pretty good, but Pakistan don't really be doing no violent shit besides beefing with India. But like, Iran is going to be probably above that, even though they don't even have nukes. But they don't need nukes. They straight up their nuke is nuking the fucking the Strait of Hormuz.
Of the highly enriched stockpile that they have in their possession. But number two, all we've
done.
The
news is so crazy today. I swear.
Lift the blockade and the Straits of Hormuz. We basically returned it to where it was before the conflict. The blockade is off. We put that in after the conflict started. The Straits are now open. That's not a new benefit to the Iranians. They were selling oil for many, many years, well before we ever put the blockade.
We put the blockade like midway through the actual conflict. And in that time before the blockade, they were getting billions. They were stacking bread like crazy.
We opposed that blockade. They stopped selling oil, and now we've lifted the blockade in order to promote the free flow of energy across the world.
Oh wow, we're so kind.
The U.S. official described having secured some of these quote-unquote gentlemen's agreements with Iran on certain aspects of the negotiation. So when it comes to highly enriched uranium, can you walk us through what's been secured even in these gentlemen's agreements?
I want to try to find a video of that. Dude, I don't know why the fuck the YouTube chat is not popping up on this shit. Because I don't know if the YouTube chat is showing up on screen. It's kind of crazy. It's pissing me off. But need to log back in this shit. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Nukes didn't help this war. Yeah, nukes didn't help this war at all because like Trump was literally trying to nuke Iran previously, and a bunch of his generals basically talked him out of that shit. And it wouldn't even help anyways because like all their infrastructure, like their missiles are buried deep in the ground. So it's just interesting seeing this cope. Like we're in the like strength position, like we're the alphas in this position when we couldn't do shit. Their nuke is literally just fucking up goods and services going through the Strait of Hormuz.
Agreements on how exactly they're going to get rid of the stockpile. Are there agreements on low-grade enrichment? How long is the moratorium on enriching uranium for Iran? And are any of these gentlemen's agreements written down anywhere?
I'd hope it's written down, like, goddamn.
So some of them are written down, but fundamentally, whether they're written down or spoken, this is why we structured the deal that we did.
How do you
we don't
know
trust
the terms?
words, we trust action, and we trust conduct. And so we're going to reward conduct, and we're not going to reward any words, whether they're written on a sheet of paper or not. There's a lot of discussion, the MOU, the gentleman's agreements, the final deal. Words don't matter.
Words do matter. Like, they need some type of framework to know, because we got Trump one day saying like, yo, we're doing this. Then the next day he's having a dementia attack on Truth Social saying the complete opposite.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about verification. And so what we're going to do is to say, if they do the things that they have promised to do, they have promised not to enrich. They have promised that they would allow inspectors in to destroy that.
Honestly, it will be interesting to see what BB does next. And that's honestly what I'm wondering, because I have like no idea. And it's looking like it's not going to be pretty good, because judging by the response that they put out today, Israel essentially said that they're not going to stop attacking Lebanon. They said it again. They doubled down.
And then, of course, it's not usable anymore. You take it somewhere else. They promised a number of things, and that's why the deal contemplates a number of benefits if they do those things. But it doesn't do anything if they don't actually meet those promises.
So just to be clear, go
ahead.
Follow up on that, sir.
Go ahead.
If they don't follow through with their commitment, will the U.S. go back to imposing sanctions and the blockade, or does Iran get to keep some of the concessions that it has already secured?
Well, first of all, the sanctions are still on, with the exception of the oil sanctions, which I talked about were no longer effective. The purpose of the oil sanctions is to drive down how much Iran is charging for a barrel of oil. Those sanctions had stopped being effective. The blockade is what's effective. And again, that's the thing that has changed in accordance with them opening the Strait of Hormuz. No sanctions will come off unless they perform the benefit of the bargain, and every sanction will come back on. Let me, like hypothetically, let's say 2 years down the road, they've done what we need to see on the nuclear program, and we release the sanctions as the deal contemplates. Then they decide they're going to start rebuilding the nuclear program. Then, of course, those sanctions are going to come back on. And that's why it's really kind of like a dial. As they dial up their good behavior, we can dial up the economic relief. If they dial down their good behavior, we can turn it off. It's the good thing about having the leverage.
So we're still giving them $300 billion. It's a good thing about being the United States of America, where we just fundamentally have so much influence in the world financial system. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Leader Thune said it's unrealistic to get the Save America Act passed by attaching it to FISA,
Save America
which the president's looking for. Do you believe this is possible?
Well, why don't we try? Why don't we try and at least force people to vote against it? One of the things that sometimes frustrates me about the legislative process is that people will go into it saying, this isn't possible, therefore we're not even going to try. Well, let's actually see. Let's try it.
Dude, and ain't no one want that dusty ass Save America Act. Like, come on. Who the fuck wants to watch that shit? Or who the fuck wants that shit?
It's not possible. Then let the people put their name on it. This is also good for the American people. How many American senators know that the American people love the Save America Act because they believe in voter ID? But how many of those same senators don't want to vote for it because they know that the radical elements within their own party would punish them for it? Let people go on the record and actually answer to the American people, which is why I think we should do exactly as the president said. Rob.
Let's go. Let's go. That shit was pissing me off.
The MOU will be published within 48 hours. The president then said...
Yo, his stomach was sounding crazy. Here, I need to find that clip for real. I don't know if you saw... If you're talking about a literal fart, there was a moment where he was actually like kind of farting. I miss the times when our president didn't have Twitter. Me too. Like, what the fuck is this? Yo, we gotta see. There's an actual moment where he farts. Maybe Trump's stomach. Ah, yes.
Jamodi of India.
Listen closely. Listen closely. I'm dead ass. I'm not even capping. He like has indigestion or some shit. Not even capping. Not even capping. Prepare yourselves. Listen. Get some headphones.
I'm together today. I spoke to Mohammed. I spoke to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia a number of times. They're all so happy that they're still. You have to have them happy too. We're using their airports. Not that they could stop us if we didn't want them to, but it'd be nice that I want to get that little...
Oh, wait, no. What the fuck? Trump stomach decay. Yo, I think Aaron Parnas posted it, and it was like, he's decaying. I think it was on this. Damn, I need to find that clip where he farted. And not one of them fake ass clips where it's like someone puts in an audio or something. There's like a real clip of him like farting. Fuck. Oh, here it is.
But then when
his body, it says his body makes some horrid sound. Yo, is this it? You found it? Let's see. Yeah, this is it. This is it.
We ended up with the original members, but then when...
What the fuck? Yo, he's decaying before our very eyes. He says...
We ended up with the original members, but then when...
You heard that?
The election...
He was like... Yo, and when you look at this clip, look at the faces of them. They straight not fucking with it. Marco Rubio gets pissed as fuck, and then Howard Lutnick is smiling, and then he ends his smile.
We ended up with the original members, but then when the election was...
He just went concerned after he heard that. He got a frog in his pants. He got concerned, and then this dude just got like angry as fuck. I don't know why bro got so angry. He's like, damn. I think Marco Rubio's embarrassed because like this is like, I don't know, his only chance of being president. And in this moment, they're literally doing a crazy, unpopular ass fucking, yo, I got the YouTube chat to work finally. Let's go. But in this moment, it's like historical. This is a historical defeat. And in this historical defeat, we have Trump farting, shitting his pants, a fucking Epstein affiliate sitting right next to him at his flank, Marco Rubio on the right, who wants to become president one day, and he's in the face of this historic defeat. It's like crazy. I would be pissed if I had to be downwind. That's crazy. Nah, facts though. I would be pissed as fuck too. Bro looks pissed as hell.
Rigged, that's right. We ended up with the original members, but then when...
Yeah, so is the rest of this shit just about the SAVE Act?
After Friday, you, I think, then said bye.
Alright, so that shit's over. That shit's over. That was some crazy ass shit. I know Trump be having to wipe 40 times in a sitting. I don't even think he wipes for real, gang. Like, I feel like he's straight up,
Welcome back to
Yo. Yo, we finna watch. There are some people that are not fucking with this deal. There's some people that are not fucking with this deal at all. Yeah, this is Israel news. Wait, I want to see. Yo, all the pro-Israel people right now are like mauling. Ben Shapiro's on Fox saying that this is a complete disaster. Like, I feel like people need to understand that this deal is straight up gonna go down. First off, it's at the it's at Versailles. So it's like we're almost like Germany after the First World War, having to give up mad concessions, possibly could start the newest rise of fascism.
That we bring in Ben Shapiro.
And they're straight. Anyone that's straight Israel, like pro-Israel, completely tweaking. Let's see what he has to say.
Show. Ben, good to have you with us today. Your reaction to this MOU.
But part of me, I wonder how legit it is. Like, because Netanyahu still says that he's going to keep attacking Lebanon. And that's what we were talking about earlier in the JD Vance speech, is he didn't give any specifics onto why and how they're going to stop Israel, which isn't a good sign.
Had a look at now, at least where it stands now, could be a little different when the signing happens, and also to what the president had to say there, Ben.
Well, I've said many times, the president deciding to go into Iran and to hit nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer, and then to go after Iran's ballistic.
Wait, let's see what they're saying. Trump pissed off both sides of his base and Iran. It's true. Trump pissed off the evangelical Christians. I mean, we saw that clip. I don't know if I played it the other day, but that clip of Mike Huckabee where he's complaining about Trump, and he says that actually Trump is wrong because like Israel invented America. This clip. This is him saying that Trump is wrong. This is the first part of his base that's cracking. These are the evangelicals. They're not fucking with this deal at all. This dude is a lunatic.
It's also my job to represent the importance of Israel to the United States. This is just another reminder that It is your heritage, without a doubt. But, Minister,
that's what I'm saying.
In America, it's just another reminder.
He's America first. It makes no sense.
That it is your heritage, without a doubt. But, Minister, it is also the heritage of the United States.
We're not out there,
Israel, without the Jewish foundation, there would not be an America.
Dude, we have politicians completely with Benjamin Netanyahu's butt plugs in their ass every single day. They got a Mossad butt plug that might blow up like a fucking pager if they don't say some shit that is remotely anti-Israel, or if they don't say some shit that's pro-Israel, their butt plug blows up, basically. Because it's like, this dude loves Israel more than his family.
We owe our very existence.
We owe our very existence to Israel is insane.
For what happened in this land.
They're actively spying on us. It's wild, yo. The ones in the Epstein files are the ones speaking up for Israel. Yeah, because they're probably Israeli assets. But speaking of Israeli assets, that was one person taking it wrong. Let's see how this guy takes it.
Go into Iran and to hit nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer, and then to go after Iran's ballistic missile facilities and nuclear facilities, Army, Navy, and Air Force in this current operation was the signal act of political bravery, perhaps of my lifetime. With that said, this MOU appears to be, just from the text, a disaster that does not achieve any of the actual signal goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. There were effectively 5 goals.
So he said this was one of the bravest acts of your lifetime, but this didn't do any goals in the beginning? Maybe because you're a fucking idiot.
Like, that were set by the administration at the beginning. One was ending the nuclear program, not just nuclear weapons, no nuclear enrichment, zero enrichment. That is not in the deal.
Yeah, that's not in the deal. Like, they didn't get a single thing in this fucking deal for any of these people. So the people that were like that were Persian, celebrating, oh yeah, we got to look at Reza Pahlavi because he's mad as fuck too.
Ballistic missiles ended. That is not in the deal. And the president today suggested that ballistic missiles should actually continue to be held by the Iranians.
Oh, I know he's mad as fuck at that. That the president was like, yeah, they keep their ballistic missiles. You know, Ben Shapiro, that shit probably kept him up at night.
Allies also hold ballistic missiles. Then you have the support of terrorism. That is not part of the deal. Anything that looks like an attempt to end terrorism. A permanent opening of the Strait of Hormuz toll-free. Not only is that not in the deal appears to have a provision allowing Iran and Oman to attempt to toll the straits after 60 days.
There's nothing
and then finally,
in your deal
the idea
like
that Iran would receive some sort of sanctions relief after all of those things happen. We are already seeing from day one relief in their ability to ship oil out.
Ben has been on the phone. He is. I mean, straight up. He doesn't even try to hide it. This dude is, I mean, he's borderline like Barack Ravid level. I know he's American, but bro be acting like he's straight up like an Israeli foreign minister.
Of Iran. In my opinion, the vice president of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president.
So
and if you missed that, he read off all that shit and then he blamed it on fucking JD Vance. He said this is all the vice president's fault.
Relief in their ability to ship oil out of Iran. In my opinion, the vice president of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president.
Dude, the president was the one that's in Versailles signing this document. It's not JD Vance doing this shit. I almost said let's bounce around, but let's check out Trump at Versailles. Coincidentally, this is where the German people basically Germany in World War One, they had to sign the Treaty of Versailles, which was a huge embarrassing moment, and it essentially like solidified the rise to fascism because the terms were so bad.
Donald Trump standards, it had everything.
That's what I'm saying too. I don't know how they got to JD Vance. Ben Shapiro just does that shit because he doesn't want to like reach the ire of Trump. What? Okay. I want to find a better video of this shit. Worst policy blunder in decades. Fuck it. Let's look at this.
So it was then the location for the peace treaty signed in 1919 to end World War I. And now the Palace of Versailles, just outside of Paris, also the location for the signing by Donald Trump of the US and Iran peace agreement.
Look at them. They're signing it. So apparently what happened was at the G7 meetings, Trump is shitting himself. He's pooping his pants. He's doing a bunch of like weird shit, walking away from the camera. And like, President Macron wanted to make sure that he stays, so he invited him to dinner at the Palace of Versailles and basically try to get him to sign this shit.
But signing after.
And in this deal, it is one of the worst policy blunders in U.S. history. What about Jared and the other guy that was with Vance, Steve Witkoff? Well, the Israelis hate them because of this deal, and they called them slurs. Like the Israelis were calling their own, like those envoys, they were calling them slurs. The Israelis are mad as fuck at this deal.
Day of the G7 summit, even as he threatened, though, to resume attacks if Iran fails to honor its commitments. The deal, also signed by Iran, it offers a permanent end to hostilities.
He threatened to still. I guess he still threatened to. He still threatened to bomb them while signing the deal.
Of the Strait of Hormuz and the starting of a 60-day negotiating clock to reach a final deal on Iran's nuclear program.
Yo, this dude does. It's almost like Weekend at Bernie's. Like they're having this nice ass dinner and shit, and he's just looking down bad.
A negotiating clock
old
to
as
reach
hell, can barely even hold the fucking pen.
A final deal on Iran's nuclear program. Criticism, though, that it offers Iran several benefits while extracting little.
Yeah, they should have invited this dude. Yo, 500,000 or dinner with Trump
in return. Well, we'll discuss it in just a moment. But first of all, Ellen Gainsford has this report.
This was not easy, I can tell you.
There were historic surroundings for US President Donald Trump's much anticipated signature. The agreement was inked in the Palace of Versailles, with French President Emmanuel Macron looking on. President Masoud Pezeshkian
they should have invited, bro. That shit would have been a crazy link up.
Did the same on behalf of Iran.
Yeah. Smartest thing they did. For real, it is super smart. And honestly, the way that he was talking before, he might change his mind. But I think that, Drop Site News did some reporting saying that Iran got a bunch of psychiatrists to pull up and basically use that. Yeah, I would take the cash too. But like, there's also hardliners in Iran that, I don't know how you could be mad if you're Iran. Like, granted, like, hella people died, but you get a pretty good deal. Like, they're trying to say, though, there's not 100% that they're going to get the money. Like, they have to behave. But at this point, like, it doesn't matter if it all leads to Israel. Because if Israel keeps attacking Lebanon, it might have them break the deal. And I don't know. It's kind of weird. It almost makes me feel that this is like them trying to corner Iran to make sure that they accept this deal, but then still try to attack Lebanon. But they're not going for it anymore. So Israel's just going to keep getting embarrassed as fuck, as they should.
So what's in the 14-point memorandum of understanding?
I would take the cash. 300 billion, you're up 300 Bs. You could have Shahed drones for days. Them shits cost like a lawnmower price. You could be literally having an army of them shits. Tel Aviv would not be safe.
Standing. The agreement extends the current ceasefire, including in Lebanon, leaving 60 days for Iran and the US to come to a more detailed.
Or this could just be another 60-day pause that results in nothing. Because, this time it seems a little bit different. Like, Trump might be actually trying to restrain Israel. Especially when we listen to that J.D. Vance speech. He was pretty much trying to restrain Israel and said that Israel was fucking up the deal. But if they're not serious about that and they're just doing harsh words and not doing anything in the backgrounds to actually prevent that, it's like cooked.
A lasting agreement. Concessions to Iran include allowing Tehran to sell its oil freely, immediately.
So they could sell oil, which was already kind of something that was an issue before, so that's even more money.
The full lifting of sanctions and the release of frozen assets will happen over time, linked to the progress of future talks. And a $300 billion fund will be developed to help the reconstruction of Iran. It's currently unclear.
Yeah, they get $300 billion to help with the restructures. They get reparations, man. We got that much money. Yo, let me get some reparations too for slavery. I'm just saying. But yeah, they get I need to see what that shit says. For some reason, this reconstruction shit is blocking it.
Clear whether the U.S.
Yeah. What if the U.S. doesn't intervene with Iran and Israel hit each other? Trump threw around a praise. Wait, yeah, I remember him doing praise to Allah before. He be saying that shit. What, he recently said it today? I gotta see if he recently said this shit. If he recently said that shit would be funny as hell. What's happening here? Spiral panic as Tulsi Gabbard prepares to unleash bombshell file dumps on the CIA mind control project. Oh yeah, he did do. Hunter Biden lands job at luxury hotel rehab clinic? What the fuck? Yeah, he be saying this shit.
To Allah, same people that are critical would say he went too long. He should have done, no matter what. If they raised the white flag of surrender,
he loves to say this.
And if they said praise be to Allah, Donald Trump is the greatest president ever.
This dude is fucking demented as hell, man. What the fuck? Speaking of which, I saw there was a what the fuck? Is this a JD Vance interview? Yo, bro's doing every single interview to fucking sell this war. We might have to look at that. But I saw there was a clip of Netanyahu speaking where he basically said that they're not going to stop. Yo, there's so much shit actually I want to go into. I want to see the Reza Pahlavi interview because he was like hating on Trump. I'm going to use the bathroom real fast. I'm going to play this shit. And then I'm going to pee and then I'm going to watch this Reza Pahlavi interview. We might check out the JD Vance interview. We got to see Chud the Builder who fucking got his bond revoked. There's a lot of crazy shit. BRB, 2 seconds.
It's a controversial issue that's been much criticized, including within Donald Trump's own party. It reopens the Strait of Hormuz, with 2 months assured toll-free. But for now, there's no longer-term guarantee that Iran won't impose a fee. The US will also end its naval blockade on Iran. On the all-important nuclear issue, Iran has agreed to never develop a nuclear weapon and pledged to dilute its stocks of enriched uranium. But the exact details of how this will be guaranteed will be hammered out in future talks on an extendable 60-day timeline. The JCPOA, the Obama-era agreement, which Donald Trump scrapped, took around 20 months of negotiations to develop.
Well, International Affairs Editor Doug Herbert is with me now here on set. Doug, as you see it, this is a deal in name only.
Well, it's not just how I see it. It's many Republicans are angry, a little bit relieved that something happened, but they're also in a state.
I want to switch gears because Reza Pahlavi dissed the fuck out of Trump or some shit. Bro was feeling some type of way. Bro was definitely feeling some type of way, man. Yeah, he was feeling like that.
State of disbelief. This is a deal in name only. And there's almost a...
Yeah, it's safe to say Israel wasn't fucking with this shit either.
Welcome back to ILTV on the app.
Israel Live TV. Let's see what they thought about this going on.
I'm Ladar Lazi coming to you live from Israel with all of the recent updates coming out of the region. It's currently 10 a.m. in New York and 5 p.m. here in Israel, and these are the latest developments. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif announced the U.S.-Iran memorandum of understanding is now underway, effective immediately, with Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz and the United States lifting its naval blockade of Iranian ports. U.S. President Donald Trump signed the Iran agreement at the Palace of Versailles Marseille just prior to a dinner hosted by French President Emmanuel.
They really cornered bro and made him be in that shit.
Macron. Sharif said Pakistan, with the support of Qatar, will host a ceremony in Switzerland tomorrow to mark the agreement and launch the next phase of technical talks between Washington and Tehran. The full text of the agreement has now been released, and if implemented, as described, the agreement could open one of the world's most strategic waterways, but whether it delivers lasting
fucking commercials and shit. All right, I got this Reza Pahlavi interview right now. We're going to see what he says, because he was not fucking with this Iran deal.
He's the man who believes
They literally were making fun of this dude. He was never going to be fucking president. I don't know what they thought was going on. This shit made no damn sense
could
whatsoever.
be the transitional leader of Iraq.
He is a cuckold. He said later than expected. He wanted to see the... Actually, yeah, that's true. That's why they took him there, because it's like the opulent palace. Isn't that not the palace of the dude who got beheaded on the guillotine during the French Revolution? Didn't he live at that shit with Marie Antoinette? I'm pretty sure. I could
Thanks
be
for
wrong.
coming. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
But the deal his American allies have agreed suggests regime change.
So we're watching Reza Pahlavi, the Persian dude that was supposedly gonna be the guy that replaces the Ayatollah, and he's like the leader of the monarchist movement. I know I live in LA, so I deal with a lot of people that are, you know, pro monarchy and shit. People that don't like the Islamic Revolution that happened in 1979, and the fact that they wanted the Shah, who was a dude that was a U.S. puppet that basically killed the fuck out of people and would rip people's toenails and fingernails off for various explanations. So this guy right here, Reza Pahlavi, they were gonna just insert him in Iran somehow, some way, even though there was there was CIA agents that basically talked about if he were to go to Iran, they would take his ass out in the first minutes of him even landing. So it was unrealistic, but bro's mad as fuck. He's also on payroll from Mossad, and his wife is a cuck that fucks her tennis instructor. So
Change is no longer their goal. The son of the last Shah, in exile for almost half a century, has seen only fragments of what's been agreed. But he fears any memorandum that takes the regime at its word.
Dude, he was so rich for no reason.
Is this a good week for the people of Iran? Is that a breakthrough? Or is this a bad week?
Look, there was so much promise in his eyes, and then now it's just like, look at him. But yeah, his wife is he's actually a cuckold, and he lives in Maryland. So how the fuck was he going to get to Iran and he was going to become the leader over Zoom or some shit?
The regime cannot be trusted. It's only trying to buy time. And 40,000 Iranians haven't died in the span of 2 days.
This is how he makes his money, though. Mossad sends him bread, and he has to go in here to incite the Iranian population, the diaspora population, and the monarchists and shit like that, and maybe get people to revolt. The last time they got people to revolt in Iran, the IRGC killed like 20,000 of them
for a nuclear deal
that were funded by the FBI or the CIA and Mossad, and gotten weapons from them.
Or for the Strait of Hormuz to remain open. They have died for the sake of liberty and freedom and democracy. And they've been oddly absent of any negotiation. You cannot trust a regime that just today executed yet again 2 of the people who were part of that uprising in January 8th and 9th. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, they were probably Mossad agents. I know some people were fucking like executed that weren't, but a lot of the people that were protesting were literally paid for by Mossad or gotten weapons by Mossad and America.
Trying to buy time. This is partly the reason why I think this deal will not work or will not last.
Not sure if you've heard these comments from President Trump at the G7 today. He said the current Iranian leadership are very rational people. They are nice to deal with.
Yo, I don't know if it's a dementia, but he said, I'd rather deal with the current Iranian people than deal with fucking Mossad or something.
They are strong and smart people. They are not radicalized, and they are looking to help their country. Does that hurt to hear that?
Well, I'll wait for the next tweet, which might come in a few hours, because we have seen a pattern of contradictory messages coming out. So,
bruh. He said, I'll have to wait for the next tweet that comes in the next 3 hours because we hear conflicting messages with your big ass Squidward nose, gang. Yo, come on now. Don't be this cucked. I mean, damn. I guess that's some tough words because he's literally a cuckold. But like on the real though, you can't do shit. All you got is your sod pay and shit like that. Meanwhile, I don't understand anyone that legitimately thought that we were doing this war for the hearts and minds of the people. Man, we blew up a motherfucking elementary school the first damn day. This dude does not give a fuck. And they still don't even admit that they did it.
I'm not going to judge by every headline that is coming out. How many of these campaigns of liberation around the world have we witnessed that didn't have a component of foreign support or assistance that put an end to unwanted situations?
And how does that look?
Should not be an exception.
So what is this guy saying? He's pissed that we don't send Americans to go fight it. He's saying how many wars have gone on without foreign assistance. So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that Americans should go in there and take over the country so you could be the president, even though you've never ruled anything besides your fucking cuck chair in Maryland somewhere. This is wild. What the
How does
fuck
that
is going
ambition
on?
and that sentiment look in terms of bullet points in this memorandum of understanding?
He's
What
in the
do you
cuck
need
chair
to see
at
in that?
this moment. He's literally sitting. This is wild. He was hoping Trump would win. I guess he was, but it's like, I don't even know. That had to have been extreme wishful thinking or just complete lunacy. Because it's like, unless we won in the first day when we killed all them, I guess this dude, Reza Pahlavi, was assuming that like we killed the dudes and then he was just going to step in and take over the IRGC or some shit like that. Because it's like 90 million people. You'd have to send in a whole army and draft all of us to make that shit happen. And we still would probably lose.
But I think I would say that it's not just a nuclear issue. It's not just the waterways being open. It's not just about the fact that there are long-range missiles that are not possibly targeting most of
It's about me having no cuck wife and going to
continental
Iran.
Europe, but it's about political prisoners, it's about executions, it's about a lack of communications with the free world.
So you'd like that memorandum to say something specific
Dude,
about...
I also find it interesting that he'd be talking about executions when it's like, yo, you're talking about extrajudicial executions that the IRGC are doing. How many people did we kill? How many little girls did the U.S. kill with precision Tomahawk missiles? Why aren't you bringing that up? You're talking about political prisoners. We in your sense of trying to save your country, we literally blew up a fucking school. Trump talked a good game before the war. I feel like he kind of talked a good game, but like at the same time, a lot of people were kind of like questioning it, like, gang, how does this even happen? And I swear there's a Trump quote where he's like, it's all going to be okay in the end. I don't know if someone knows what quote I'm talking about, but he literally says it's all going to be okay in the end. Trump is just an optimist because he's demented and he doesn't really know about like steps of shit. That he just goes off of vibes. And I guess he took in the vibes. I remember when they killed the Ayatollah, because I'm in LA, for instance, there's a lot of Iranians here. Everyone was happy, but they were like, we need to be happy. We should allow us this to be happy. And I wasn't going to like yell at them and be like, y'all shouldn't be happy that the Ayatollah's gone and shit like that. I know he's done some fuck shit, but it's like, you can't be celebrating America coming in there because how the fuck are we going to liberate people? After the first day when they blew up that school with the Tomahawk missile, I haven't seen no one talking about shit. No one talking about Reza Pahlavi needs to be up in there. People just pretend like this shit doesn't even happen.
Access to the internet, about political prisoners.
But people did fall for they fell for it.
If they want to take into account what it will mean in terms of popular sentiments in Iran, as opposed to satisfying a regime that is clearly unpopular and untrusted by the nation.
That's how you know he's a Mossad, though. Because it's like, instead of saying that there could be like a diplomatic solution to this, and we're in the most diplomatic solution to this currently, signing this deal that we're basically destroying, this terrible ass deal. We're in a diplomatic situation. He's saying, and this is very Mossad Israeli coded, even though he's not Israeli, but he is Mossad. He's saying that we need to send U.S. troops to fight on his behalf in order for this shit to happen.
This is really, at the end of the day, a matter of moral responsibility. If any of this is absent in this discussion, that means that you ignore a whole nation and you're just trying to find a way out of this mess and basically kick the can down the road and let it be somebody else's problem.
So if we're kicking the can down the road, who does the buck stop with? I know this is your country or whatever, and you got exiled, but realistically, there's not very many options we have here. You're willing to destroy the world's economy just because for you? That's kind of wild.
So aligned with the Trump administration, you steer clear of directly criticizing them, even when more than 150 people were killed in the attack on the school.
Oh, see, this is what I was wondering. He asked them. I'm glad he asked them this. They're sticking with the Trump administration, even though 150 kids died in the school. He was celebrating that we're finally have a day where we're liberating Iran. But then now this school fucking blew up, and he's more concerned about the political prisoners, which are also possibly some of them paid by Mossad. It's wild. This new regime gets to show people they won about to get paid. Oh, yeah, for sure. They're going to, and it's like a rally around the flag effect, too, because it's like, obviously, the U.S. isn't there to save you. We didn't hear shit about no protests during this war, but the only time we heard about protests during this war was when we were bombing this shit at the very beginning, the first day, and then Trump was like, go get arms and take over your country. After that, we have not heard a peep. We don't hear shit about any of these protests. They don't be going on anymore, which has me believing that I know a good majority of the people that protested before were CIA and Mossad, people that were given weapons. I feel like any protest now would probably be Mossad. And I know Mossad is going to double down with their tactics anyways, but let's see.
Even when more than 150 people were killed in the attack on the school, do you regret that?
Look, any human life loss is one too many.
Uh-huh.
Of course, we are all grieving for the casualties that occur. But who is to blame in all this?
Us. Dude, this... Yo, this is crazy. This is exactly like... This is very much Mossad coded. This is exactly like when the IDF blows up a school in Gaza or like kills someone in the West Bank. More often when they blow some shit up in Gaza and they're like, who is to blame for this? It's because Mossad was possibly there within a 5 to 10 square mile radius. We don't really know, so we blew up an apartment building or hospital. But the fact that the U.S. blew up a school, and then he's like, it's the IRGC's fault for even like being there.
Any human life loss is one too many.
I hate this argument.
Of course, we are all grieving for the casualties that occur. But who is to blame in all this? It's the regime that actually, to take a page out of what Hamas has done in Gaza, hiding people, using them as...
Dude, I literally described exactly what he would say. He said, it's the regime, just like how Hamas be hiding in Gaza. So it's the regime's fault that we fired a Tomahawk missile at a school. Okay, I guess if you use that logic...
Human shields. For us, it was a path to liberation. It was a path to... It's almost like a rescue mission. For us, it was...
Dude, holy shit, man. He said, these kids dying is a path to revolution.
Hiding people, using them as human shields. For us, it was a path to liberation. It was a path to... It's almost like a rescue mission of some form. If you are...
Nigga, this is crazy. I've never heard someone say this. He said those little kids dying is like a rescue mission. It's a path to revolution.
A hostage. And I think the rest of the job is for the Iranian people to do.
This was a US attack. And surely many of your compatriots will find it difficult seeing you in that answer unable to directly criticize the US actions.
Well, if you want to take one
he can't criticize shit
incident and blame the entire action just on that fact, that's distorting the picture. The reality is that when people saw that help was coming, they started writing the president's name on the walls on the streets of Iran.
So then we bomb them? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Naming streets after him. Can you on the one hand say a nation is on the verge of being liberated? It's like telling the French, did you object the fact that the Allied landed in Normandy and liberated you from the Nazis?
He literally called them shields, and he's saying that this is like when the Allies landed on Normandy. This is some strong-ass crazy shit.
Otherwise, you'll be speaking German right now. To us, that intervention was necessary to cripple the regime that is using military weaponry to shoot at their own citizens on the street.
We've been reporting and investigating plots against Iran international journalists in this country, including one plot that was foiled and dubbed the wedding by the IRGC. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks ago, we had convictions in the cases of a plot against another Iran international presenter.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, this dude is crazy. I've never seen someone just like basically say that children should die in strikes just because it's a means to an end. These are the people that we want to be running the country. I feel like this shows everything about his fucking character. It shows everything about his character. God damn.
Welcome back to ILTV on the hour.
I got some more news, but let's see more Israeli cope.
I'm Ladar Lazi coming to you live from Israel with all of the recent updates coming out of the region.
Not happy about this
it's currently 10 a.m. in New York and 5 p.m. here in Israel, and these are the latest developments. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif
You had a deal that was good.
U.S. officials and its civilian nuclear program under IAEA oversight. Until a final deal is reached, Iran would maintain the current status of its nuclear program, while the U.S. would refrain from imposing new sanctions or deploying additional forces to the region.
So I want to see what Netanyahu had to say about this. And this is going to show volumes. If he is going to chill with Lebanon or not. But let's see. I'll read it out loud for anyone that's watching too. Okay, so this is today. And the struggle is not over yet. More challenges still lie ahead. These require us to keep our composure, stand firm on our security interests, and that same time maintain the important relationship with our American friends who have stood by. Shoulder to shoulder, and we deeply appreciate that. Sounds like this is going towards we're still gonna fucking fight Lebanon. We will continue to exercise judgment and discretion. We will safeguard the government's achievements. We will safeguard the achievements of the war. These are achievements of the entire people of Israel. Just as we've restored security and tranquility. To the Gaza Strip, so too we will restore security and tranquility to the northern communities. That's how we live. Maintaining the security zone in southern Lebanon requires that we do not leave as long as Israel's security arrangements are not in place. Oh my God. Dude, we are so cucked. This war is not ending. And this separate distances Hezbollah from our citizens and communities and more. Broadly, we will continue to hold fast to the supreme goal that has guided us and guided me. Broadly, we will continue to hold fast to the supreme goal that's guided us. For most of my adult life, that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Iran is 3 days from having a nuclear bomb. Oh my fucking God. So, yeah, Netanyahu doubles down on, is this today? Yes, this is today. At 6:46 a.m., he doubles down on the IDF not leaving southern Lebanon despite Trump's U.S.-Iran deal, maintaining the security. Yeah, so it's like, this shit isn't even going to happen. Another day, another fucking donut, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's get into something else. It seems like it's going to happen. Maybe we'll rein these motherfuckers in because, like, Trump is treating it like they're actually going to make it happen. But people have been tweaking the fuck out. Let's look at Laura Loomer real fast because I heard that she was like completely tweaking over this deal. Oh yeah, I guess she was tweaking. She says, soon there will be a massive Islamic terrorist attack in America, and the perpetrators will likely have financial ties to podcasters and those who are sowing discord for foreign nations in America. I predict there will be many casualties, and only then will it maybe set in that people have been conned into supporting a terrorist psyop to distract you from the threat of Islam, while the enemy plotted to destroy our country from within with botted conspiracy theories. It will be likely 10 times worse than 9/11. Yo, this lady's glitching. I've never seen someone glitching like that shit.
Was rigged because the big tech social.
Yeah. So, this motherfucking Nazi motherfucker, I guess, came at her. She is going after Tucker. She's going after Tucker heavy. Let's see why. On his latest podcast, Tucker Carlson blamed 9/11 on Israel and said Israel is our opponent, not our ally. Even though Israel, she needs to be 51-50. Like we were looking at before that she gave fucking head to Trump. And on top of giving head to Trump, she was like having a psychotic breakdown from taking too much coke and had to go to rehab. So like you got to take her words with a grain of salt. But she says on his latest podcast episode, Tucker Carlson blamed 9/11 on Israel and said Israel is our opponent. She can't even legally have a gun. Because she's a lunatic. She is consumed by his hatreds of Jews. He also mocks senators who speak out about Islamic jihad. Meanwhile, 9/11 was an act of Islamic jihad. He's a traitor. Let's see this shit that got her all worked up.
Sure, me. About how we owe you.
In her next post, she said that there's going to be a giant terrorist attack worse than 9/11, and it's going to be caused by Tucker Carlson. And I think Tucker Carlson in this video was just saying that we need an Iran war. Or we need to end the Iran war.
Are you kidding? And then to the question of whether or not Israel's our ally. In what sense?
Hell no, they're not our ally.
If Americans die, if the nation gets poorer, if pressing problems in the United States are ignored in favor of theoretical.
Do we spy on allies? Do we like bug their government buildings and shit like that? Like, I don't think we do that. So like, yeah.
Problems, ideological problems, or Israel's problems, thousands of miles away. If your average senator is more concerned about Islamic jihad than homelessness or housing prices in America, and that is true.
If your average senator is more worried about Islamic jihad than like ultra Zionist activity from both Christian Zionists and like Israeli terrorists, I just don't know what to tell you. I think they worry about Tucker because he has charisma, but I feel like people overstate the base that he has. Like, in this current MAGA sphere, we be remembering there's MAGA people that literally say, I don't care if Trump is a pedophile. Like, literally. There's people that I have shown on video on my page where they say that shit. So I feel like at the end of the day, they're not leaving Trump even after his term's over. So, like, I feel like he doesn't have as much motion. He does have motion, but I feel like he has more motion in the Groyper world, like the further right world, and then some liberals. So he needs to expand from those type of people, but they're afraid of him being a threat in the next presidential cycle, either being a kingmaker or being an actual candidate.
How are they an ally?
They're all low IQ, though.
Why? If the Israeli intelligence service had foreknowledge of 9/11, which they did, according to the American FBI, how is that an ally? You know it's coming and you don't tell us?
Uh-oh. Dude, she says this shit's anti-Semitic.
That's what the FBI said. That's not an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. That's a provable fact. Because
he said all this, and he said it's not anti-Semitic, and then her response is literally, this is anti-Semitic.
There are photographs from September 10th of Mossad operatives mocking the burning of the World Trade Centers. And you can look them up if you want. And Fox News at one point, right after 9/11, ran that package. Wouldn't do that now. The point is not.
Yo, it's crazy that like if you diss Mossad, people call you anti-Semitic. We can't diss the agency known for doing assassinations and shit. Like what kind of world are we living in where they're forcing us to like this shit?
To attack Israel. The point is to attack the idea that this is an ally. There's nothing allied about that. That's an opponent, a rival, a resentful, dependent nation. And of course, that shouldn't surprise anybody. Dependency breeds resentment. People who take welfare hate the government. Adults who take money from their parents resent their parents. Like dependency.
What the fuck? What that last part kind of, he said people that take welfare from the government hate their parents?
Always causes resentment. And
this shit is super low IQ. Like that shit doesn't even make sense.
They resent us. I get it. That's our fault, not theirs, by the way. But the point is, it's all ending.
Yeah, so she got really mad at that, and I guess Nick Fuentes responded on this.
Iran.
We need to arrest Loomer to find out what she knows. Bro, I honestly don't think she even knows what the fuck she knows. That lady is addicted to coke, like heavily, and be probably snorting like fucking she probably be snorting Lexapro. I wouldn't be surprised. She's out of her fucking mind. So this fucking Nazi manlet cuck, well, he's not a cuck, he's an incel, so he doesn't even get to the cuck chair. He had something to say to Laura Loomer. Let's see.
I don't know about you, but I am here for it. Congratulations, Iran. You fought hard. You left it all.
Yeah, I mean, like, the general consensus, and everyone is fucking... I'm just getting everyone's reactions to this shit because people are mad as fuck. But America, we lost this goddamn war completely. Fuck this dude.
On the field.
He says, even though he is pro-Israel too, sometimes you have to call the bluff and rattle the cage.
And you won. God bless the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I said it on Twitter. Iran won, Israel lost. So delicious.
Even though he be on the side of Israel.
Laura Loomer was in my replies. She said, Groypers are Islamists. I'm like, well, Jews lose.
Yeah, fuck this dude. But everyone is kind of like losing it over this shit. Let's see what the liberals had to say. Because there's like a contingent of liberals that still are pro-war. And they basically are, instead of actually being anti-war like Ro Khanna or some shit, they're the type of liberals that sit and say like, oh, the war is wrong on a procedural level. Like we should have went through Congress and shit like that. But let's see exactly what the, liberal-minded people would say. If I were to guess, I would say that they're going to be upset because we didn't blow up more and we need to do more war on some Cory Booker shit, who coincidentally we're going to get into after this, because he was one of Peter Thiel's blood boys. After this, we're going to move past the Iran war, and we're going to talk about this Peter Thiel situation, by the way. So let's see.
His memorandum of understanding, as David Rode is reporting, and we'll talk to him about it in a second, and everybody else is reporting, this is a dream. They can't believe they got what they got from Donald Trump. And just a couple of things.
Yeah, it's bro's already, he's starting to get there. I don't know why this dude, is he like a previous Republican or something? Because his views are always like so right wing. He's like a war hawk. What the fuck does MS Now stand for? What's the point of having a liberal party if they're right of center? But
from the Wall Street Journal editorial page,
maybe he's like a libertarian.
Iran will demand even more, the Wall Street Journal editorial page says this morning. And if Mr. Trump is as desperate to end the conflict as he has sounded lately, he's going to give it. He sounds...
Bro's pissed.
He's desperate. He sounds like he's going to do anything to end this conflict. The people of Israel feel betrayed this morning.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck about the people of Israel. Dude, it's this Tel Aviv now? Like, why are we sitting here worried about the fucking people of Israel, man? They're the ones that are mad as fuck that we're not killing more people, that they can't bomb more people. CNN was bought by a Republican, but MS Now is doing this for the love of the game. This is MS Now, by the way. I should raise this shit up. They're not bought by anyone. They're supposed to be the liberal outlet, and they're straight up just like, he's mad. He said, but what about the people of Israel? Bro, are you in Tel Aviv right now? Are you in Jerusalem? Like, come on.
Republicans are...
Dude, this is like the reason why I play this. I just don't... When Fox goes liberal, we're in trouble. There's point... That will never happen. They'll bring liberals on here, but they'll never go liberal. I think in this media landscape, you can only be right-wing. Like, the left of center people... This is supposed to be left of center. This is what happens to them. The only real leftist commentary you're ever going to get is people like me. People like that you could find online and shit like that. Like real independent media, which leads me to my point. If you want this motherfucker, make sure you sub. You could donate to the Patreon and shit on Twitch. You could join as a Twitch subscriber. And if you're in the chat, you can use Jeff Bezos's money by connecting your Amazon, and you get a free subscription to the Crash Out Economics Show. It keeps the show going and shit like that. But yeah, all the other news sites, as you can see here, have turned super far right.
Well,
not far right. This is just right of center.
And you can just go down the list of all the things he said we were going to do at the beginning of this war. And it just hasn't been done. And this MOU takes us in the opposite direction.
It sounds like Morning Joe wants to like keep going so we could accomplish more of these goals.
And showering them with maybe $500 billion of money
Big
up
W's.
front. If you add all the things up that the Wall Street Journal was talking about yesterday.
But he's doing the right thing, because like if we were to really keep going, if we were really to keep going throughout this war concept, like what would be the end goal? It would be a whole bunch of Marines getting completely slimed out on Carg Island or some shit like that, dying in the middle of the desert on behalf of Israel. At a certain point, we have to decouple from Israel. But I don't know. It sounds like Israel's going to, even if we decouple from them, they're going to just go about this shit by themselves. So let's see.
And then beyond that, they get to rebuild their economy and act as if they're Luxembourg, as if they're not the epicenter of international terrorism.
Bro's getting mad. He's charging up.
Because Donald Trump says they can.
Yeah, that Wall Street Journal catalogs that op-ed catalogs president by president from Jimmy Carter forward all the attempts by both Democrats and Republicans over the years to find the moderates in Iran and finally say, we're going to be the administration that engages with Iran.
I mean, y'all killed all the moderates, man. Come on.
They're going to act like a normal country, which is the term now that Vice President J.D. Vance is using. He says, if Iran acts like a normal country, this will be a good deal for everyone. Well, history tells us.
I don't think they give a fuck if Iran acts like a normal country, man. At the end of the day, they have control over the strait. That's their nuclear weapon.
That the mullahs have no interest in Iran being a normal country. They have an agenda that they're pushing around the world. So, David Rode, I mean, you look at the particulars of all this. Sanctions lifted, oil flowing out of Iran.
Dude, this deal was fire. Sanctions lifted, oil flowing out of Iran. Like we said before, they're really going to become a superpower.
Of all this, sanctions lifted, oil flowing out of Iran already. Some of those ships are already moving. They can get those tens of billions of dollars back. The $300 billion investment fund. We had the president of the United States, we'll dig into this a little bit later, saying, well, I've got to let them keep some missiles. It's not fair. Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states have missiles. We got to keep the playing field.
Dude, that's how you say he literally just gave up on that shit, which shows that this was all completely pointless.
Even, which whether you're Republican or Democrat, made people's heads explode. But he called in the early days of this war for unconditional surrender of Iran.
Yeah, it's so ironic. They're upset, but like Trump literally called for unconditional surrender. And what? Now we're unconditionally surrendering.
He called for regime change. He said they could not have a nuclear weapon. Is any of that achieved in this memorandum of understanding?
Hell no.
Not in any way, shape, or form. It's essentially an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz on Iran's terms. Iran will be able, there's some language in there that they basically can't charge this toll that they've talked about for so long. This gives them immense power. Trump said if they don't, go along with the negotiations the way we want, we're going to start bombing them again. What will they do if we start bombing them? Close the Strait of Hormuz. And
so it's done. It's checkmate.
The bombing didn't work, and we'll talk about this more. I'll keep it short, but I would like to speak this morning at some point. President Trump is the person most responsible for this strategic defeat and failure.
Yeah. Not only strategic defeat, but literally one of the worst strategic defeats of all time. I just can't even name a worse strategic defeat, honestly.
But I would argue the person second most responsible, who's in the most dangerous position politically, is Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
He repeatedly lied to the
100%. That like the common people were getting completely fucked. And that's why Trump was forced to eventually do this shit. But the wealth just kept getting more money. The elite were able to do the biggest shift in wealth during this, even right before the war. And then they were able to get more money and shit. So let's move into all right, so you know how this is the
secret
real
society of some of the world.
This is the real Diddy list, the real Epstein list. Alan Dershowitz says Bill Gates is a victim of Epstein. Okay. So like I know y'all probably heard there was a list that Peter Thiel had with a bunch of influential names on that shit. Let's look at the list real fast because I got it on Twitter. Fuck, I forget where that shit went. Yes, here we go. This dude has a list of a secret society with like hella people on both sides of the aisle in this motherfucker, including Jared Kushner, Elon Musk, Ted Cruz, Cory Booker, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Ezra Klein. They were all on the Peter Thiel Diddy list, man. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. All your heroes are on I went to the Diddy list, the Peter Thiel Diddy list, and I seen you on there. Yeah, this list is extensive as fuck. So let's find out more about this Diddy list. Let's see what's up.
A secret society of some of the world's wealthiest and most powerful elites just got exposed. And yes, it is at least as weird as you are probably imagining. You got sex advice, cult building guides, a whole lot of talk about the company.
Yeah. Imagine. He's just a little victim. He's a baby. He didn't know. He went to the freak island and he thought it was like freak, like you do some dances like freak, like on some Rick James shit. He didn't know there'd be children sacrificed and shit. He was just only like 45 years old.
Apocalypse, and there are famous actors, podcasters, politicians, billionaires, the folks who essentially kind of run the world, try to create narratives with very little democratic input from the rest of us. And so it's called Dialogue. It was co-founded in 2006 by the far-right tech entrepreneur Peter Thiel, and it's extremely secretive. Like everything that is said.
Everything about Peter Thiel that's so evil to me is it's like, at least with Elon Musk, right? You could see how evil Elon Musk is with the shit that he does is right out in the open. But I feel like for Peter Thiel, he'll invest in these side projects like Dime Square and like cultural shit like that Red Scare podcast or like possibly even Clavicular. And he'll invest in like the culture of everything as a means to pretty much just like try to take over the world and society in their minds on some propaganda shit. And that's scary to me. And the fact that Cory Booker and Ezra Klein and like supposedly liberal actors are on that shit. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is on that shit. How many people went to we were so concerned about the Epstein Island, but what about the Peter Thiel Island, man? I wouldn't say Thiel is Goebbels. I think it's the other way around. Like that. I feel like Trump could be Hitler because Elon is really the propagandist. Elon bought the platform. Like he's not good at propaganda because he's like probably mentally, what's the word? He's like super neurodivergent, so he can barely even talk to people. So he just basically pushed a bunch of Nazi accounts and made the algorithm more available for Nazis. I feel like Mark Zuckerberg is also a good Goebbels just because of the propaganda they be pushing. Yeah. Autistic or whatever he got going on because he barely can even communicate. So it's kind of hard for him to like, I feel like it's difficult for him to actually push propaganda. Okay, yeah, Asperger's. Yeah, I forget if it was Asperger's or autism, but yeah, Asperger's is autism. Yeah, whatever he got that's neurodivergent got him tweaking. But let's see this video because he has a list that everyone's on it on both sides of the aisle.
Done there. It is strictly off the record. It's invite
the
only. And
list.
they kept their members list hidden ever since its founding. Only on a couple of occasions is something leaked, like most recently when Jeffrey Epstein's invitation to their 2014 retreat surfaced in the Epstein files. Right, and on that, he also wrote in a 2016 email to a Japanese venture capitalist, Peter Thiel.
Yo, so Epstein was in the secret society too. Dude, what the fuck? What if what Epstein was doing, he was the fall guy because he didn't get there for any reason besides being like, Asperger's doesn't exist anymore except for to Elon because he doesn't want to be autistic really bad. Yo, you're nah. So this secret society, I was saying he's the fall guy. Yeah, because everyone else was old money or like a professor or some shit like that. He was the willful idiot. Everyone else had old money or connections and were in society on some aristocratic shit. This dude was just the extorter, and they needed to get rid of him because he was extorting everybody. So he was in this secret society. I don't want to call it the Illuminati. We're gonna just call it the Freakinati. Just the freak offs. We're going to call this the freak offs.
Loved the secret society idea. He has done a lot of work on the concept. But really, otherwise, for the last 20 years, Dialogue has done a surprisingly good job of keeping things under wraps. I will say until now, because a Swiss hacktivist, the same one.
Including Ghislaine, which is why she's fucking alive. Yo, I'm going to show a video too after this. She has puppies. She's living good. Oh, we already looked at it, I think. I think we did look at it where she was in Texas at that Texas Longhorn Steakhouse ass prison.
Who leaked the U.S. government's no-fly list a few years ago. She says that she got tipped off to a vulnerability in Dialogue's website. And when I say vulnerability, I mean any random person could just look at the site's HTML code and find a directory with a list of names, which I have to imagine is just the most ridiculous, embarrassing fuck up for a super secret club created by
Dude, they didn't give a fuck. They should have hired real coders, but they probably used AI.
Volunteer tech bros who are supposed to be the best minds in data surveillance and security. And then on top of that,
that's actually so goofy. Y'all literally had Peter Thiel, the founder, one of the co-founders of Palantir in that motherfucker, and y'all didn't even have good data security.
Another source gave Wired the list of people registered to attend this year's Dialogue retreat, which is being held at a venue near Dublin, Ireland, and includes 222 names. Now, I will say it's unclear who's a full member and who's just a guest, but the variety of figures is astonishing. Like, let's go through some.
Elon Musk, dude, tell me he doesn't look more and more like, why does he look like this? I don't even know. He's like transracial. Like, when he got this IPO, he just gets more and more looking like some type of some Dune character.
Elon Musk, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, former Harvard president Larry Summers, a New York Times commentator
Ezra Klein was on the list too.
Ezra Klein, also Democratic Senator
Cory Booker, you were on the freak list too, gang. What the fuck?
Booker, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, Democratic Governor of Maryland Wes Moore, former Republican Governor of Indiana.
Dude, he's looking more and more like Chinese. I was thinking he looks more and more like, oh, yeah, the Chinese one. They're like putting things right in front of us for real. They're like literally giving you no choice but to look at this. Everyone's in this motherfucker.
Indiana, Mitch Daniels. This is fun. Let's keep going. The actor Josh Brolin.
Not him. Wasn't he the white guys for Kamala? They got white guys for Kamala in this motherfucker. Wasn't that Josh Brolin or was that someone else? Let's see if it was Josh Brolin. Maybe it wasn't. Josh Brolin, white guys for Kamala. Okay, good. I thought he was the white guys for Harris guy. He's not. He's pro-Trump.
Podcaster Sam Harris.
Isn't he Thanos?
Scooter Braun. You can think of him as a former talent manager or current boyfriend of Sydney Sweeney. You've also got the chief executives for The Atlantic, YouTube, and the Anti-Defamation League.
Dude, what? Everyone with the 401k better hope SpaceX makes it. Yeah, for real. You didn't even get a choice in that one. You could. If you got a 401k, man, it's too late. You invested in that shit. Let's hope that shit goes up. But I think it could be a rug pull. It definitely is a rug pull. We get the least regulated, most corrupt, most demented administration of all time.
The co-founder of Intuit, the global vice president for Google, and on and on and on with huge business executives.
This list is a crazy.
There are lawyers.
Being too poor to afford shit has helped me once again. Yeah. I mean, if you had a job, you never know. If you had a job at like a place where you get like a W-2, you never know. It could have been a benefit where you got a 401k.
Journalists, religious leaders, just about every kind of person that you could imagine that has some sort of power, right? Some sort of influence. So
I know Cory Booker was probably getting the freakiest of these motherfucking Peter Thiel freak.
So one of the things that ties them together, it might be their answers to the question on the sign-up form asking them to predict the future. Because Wired reported that again and again, respondents said that AI would reorder work, war, education, and belief within a few years. Reporting several people foresee mass labor displacement and a swing back toward unions and government programs. Others predicted AI winter, domestic terrorism targeting data centers, criminal defendants.
They're predicting all this shit, and yet they're still pushing these data centers.
Choosing AI lawyers over public defenders or religious revival provoked by the disruption. Also for another question, asking them to list their talents, a few of them gave some pretty weird answers, writing stuff like funhouse construction, accent imitation, backcountry skiing.
Damn, they actually found the sign-in sheet. This is like how you were able to get into this secret society. You had to talk about this. And they all believe that AI is going to take over the world, yet continue investing in
urban exploration and meditative and psychedelic inquiry into the nature of reality. Just say you like doing LSD or mushrooms. Like, why don't be hoity-toity? Also, one person put compassion and existential dread, while another answered dinner parties, keeping secrets, remembering birthdays.
I can't trust them.
Also, if any attendants are looking for love, they can enter Dialogue's matchmaking service, which apparently is a thing, which offers meaningful connections for exceptional people. But then also at the same time, these exceptional...
Imagine taking... like Peter Thiel's matchmaking service, like that shit must be crazy as fuck, bro.
People. There's reportedly a guide for event moderators that coaches them to model brief introductions to avoid status signaling. And then as for the events themselves, they're mostly discussions with titles like Money Does Buy Happiness, Bring Back Nuclear, Navigating World War III, Battlefield Technology, How's Your Sex Life, Build...
Dude, I'm telling you, this was the ultra freak off.
Builds a party and builds a cult. But also, in addition to the fun about either trying to fuck a hottie or fuck society, you have Wired pointing out that there are arguably some serious ethical lines being blurred here. Because not only does Dialogue concentrate private and political power all in one place where nobody is allowed.
Yo. Just a side note. We got a very important message. We got a very important message right here. We got a very important message from Hunter Biden. He dropped a whole paragraph on 7 years of sobriety, even though I don't know about that. And he apparently went off from the White House UFC fight. Let's see what he got to say.
Hey, everybody. Just a quick message to say thank you to everybody who has messaged me today on 7 years clean and sober.
I'm proud of you, man, for 7 years clean and sober. But I don't want to be a dick. How do I say this in the least dick way possible? He's talking about Caesar? What's Caesar? Like, Julius Caesar? Yo, I want to keep it a bean. I don't think that he's been sober. Like, I don't. They found the coke in the White House. Some of his tweets were crazy. I just don't think he's been sober, but maybe I'm just biased.
Everybody who has messaged me today on
maybe
7
sober
years
from
clean and
crack.
sober. I'm more proud of that than anything I've ever done in my life. And I just want everybody to know.
This dude's in LA. Maybe I should try to link up with him.
That is still out there sick and suffering. There's a way out. And that way out is together. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. And I'm just so grateful for all the love and support everybody has given me. So thank you
Who's
again.
Joe?
Hey, everybody.
Okay, I guess he didn't say it. Hey, Dear Joe, I wish I could sit down with you face to face. Oh, Joe Rogan. And explain why so many of us were offended. I think he might be Cali sober, but like when it's not your main doc ends up microdosing psychosis to you. I could see him microdosing or smoking weed because he'd be in. I've seen pictures of him in spaces where they like the Super Chief Gallery and shit, where they be smoking hella weed and shit. I seen him there, but I didn't personally see him, but I saw that there was like pictures of him there. But let's see what he says. I guess he's talking to Joe Rogan. Dear Joe, I wish I could sit down with you face to face and explain why so many of us were offended by the UFC fight on the South Lawn of the White House. For me, it had nothing to do with the UFC or who showed up for the fights. The brand you and Dana have built is a bona fide American success story. More power to you and for the fighters. In my book, anyone brave enough to put it all on the line in the arena is remarkable to witness. Their dedication. And, this shit was definitely written with ChatGPT. Their dedication and discipline inspire me. I don't understand anyone who can't admire that. And as for the people who attend, I, for one, love Shane Gillis. I think he's hilarious and brilliant. It was a show, a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. Yo, this nigga went, why did you write? This nigga wrote like 20 lines of glaze in this message, man. What the fuck? Get to the point, man. I don't understand anyone who can't admire that. And as for the people who attended, I, for one, love Shane Gillis. I think he's hilarious and brilliant. And it was a show of a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. So it doesn't sound like he was offended. Why did you type this whole ass paragraph, yet you're glazing for half of it? I don't understand anyone who can't admire that. And as for the people... Okay, my problem is that I believe some of our public spaces are sacred. They used to have bare-knuckle fights. I'm not one of these people that sit here and complain like on some libtard shit. Like, oh, they're desecrating the White House. Dude, Bill Clinton was fingering his secretary with a cigar. They've been desecrated this shit. This shit was built by slaves. The fuck are we talking about? I wasn't offended. I didn't get it. He proved we didn't need a ballroom. Yo, we bring it back to the ballroom. Like, this is the thing we wanted. Dude, they had Birth of a Nation, the play that inspired the Ku Klux Klan, played at the White House, and then a whole bunch of niggas put on masks and stormed the fucking, South and hung black people. You think I'm supposed to sit here and be offended about the goddamn UFC fight like that? I'm more offended that we have a rapist in office, more so than, a fucking UFC fucking thing. People that are offended over this shit, we do so much evil shit happens in the White House. I guess it was some hillbilly shit and it wasn't worth buying. The only thing I was offended about was the fact that this shit I had to pay $9 if I wanted to watch that shit. It was not worth $9. You would think that it's America's 250th birthday. They could at least make it a free broadcast on Tubi or some shit. All right, so my problem is I believe some of these public spaces are sacred. And unlike many of the great powers that came before us, these American monuments belong to all of us, not to whoever happens to hold power at the moment. This dude left a bag of coke This dude left a bag of coke in this motherfucker. Hunter Biden honestly sounds angry that they didn't have the fight when his. Yeah, he sounds like he sounds like he wants to be in the fight. I don't know if y'all ever seen the bootleg DVD craze in the 2000s bum fights. Like, they should have put a bum fight league in that motherfucker and had Hunter Biden fighting some, like, fighting someone from the right that's a complete tweaker. Who would it be? Like, George Santos. George Santos versus Hunter Biden? I would pay to see that shit. That shit would be funny as fuck. The White House does not belong to Donald Trump. It does not belong to any president. It belongs to the people. To treat it as Caesar treated the Colosseum is antithetical to everything our founding fathers, who were rapists and slave owners, fought for. This is not Rome, even though we're crumbling. Presidents are not emperors doling out bread and circuses for the peasants. The White House is the people's house. This celebration could have happened in any stadium within the stone. We went to a stadium last time, or we left there, and bro almost got dome shotted. The White House is the people's house. This celebration could have happened in any stadium within a stone's throw of the South Lawn. No one would have ever had an issue with it, but that was obviously Donald Trump's whole point. By holding the event on the South Lawn, what he was saying to the rest of us is, this is my house. I own it. I will do with it what I please. I will build a bootleg, hillbilly, hicktown coliseum and have the gladiators fight under it. Honestly, they were trying to rig the fights and shit. It was very much gladiator coded. I'll tear down the East Wing and put the Epstein Memorial Ballroom. I'll cover everything in gold and marble. I'll erase the names of the men who came before me. The fights were an exposition of imperial domination. Now, this is rich coming from a guy whose dad, like, is a butcher of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The White House is not Buckingham Palace. It is not the Palace of Versailles. It is not the Forbidden City of Beijing. It does not belong to the Emperor King or a commissary. The White House belongs to us. This is a long-winded message. You can't tell me he's not using. This nigga definitely was on Adderall or some shit typing this, or ChatGPT to the max, because this shit made no sense. Nigga was out here complaining for long as shit. God damn. First time he's feeling something adjacent to oppression. Is he even being oppressed? I mean, he got oppressed by being a crackhead 7 years ago. But we're back on it. We're going back to the secret Diddy list that Peter Thiel had. Let's see.
To talk about what is going on. It also puts business executives in the same room with the very people who are meant to regulate them. And so, for example, you've got Orrin Hoffman, the major data broker who co-founded Dialogue with Peter Thiel, listed alongside Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Senator Ted Cruz,
and you got them in close adjacent or maybe perpendicular. And you got them hella close with Jeffrey Epstein affiliates. Because, like, wasn't Jeffrey Epstein Don Jr. son against son? Yo, that's real. That's real.
Directly overseas.
If Don Jr. fought fucking Hunter Biden, but I feel like Don Jr.'s. Oh, yo, remember that video? I don't know if y'all saw Don Jr. They found he had coke on him. Him and Hunter Biden, they really are the same. This is Don Jr., guys. And just in case, we're gonna break down this video. I think he was coked out. Either coke or he was breaking a perk. Dude, there's such shiesty, like, used car salesman type people. Because why you have coke in like a little like $5 bag, like you went outside somewhere in DC and just copped a corner dealer to buy that shit for you? Like, what the fuck is this, gang? Yeah, that's definitely coke. I don't know if I'm tripping. What y'all think? This shit looks like coke. Yeah, they were getting lit in that motherfucker. That's crazy. Yeah, it was a lot of
data
wild
privacy
shit
rules.
going
And then
on.
there's Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, whose company contracts with the Pentagon, intelligence agencies, and ICE, listed alongside the Army Secretary, the general who heads U.S. European Command, and Jim Himes, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee. And reportedly, every single one of these people.
I want to move on to something very interesting right now. But
online
in breaking news, we got more updates on Chud the Builder, because Chud the Builder basically, dude, this interview is funny as shit. Chud the Builder, like, people were thinking he was gonna get out, but it turns out he's not gonna get out. Like, they found videos. So just to give a rundown on the case in general, just in case if you weren't paying attention to it, he fought someone outside of a courthouse. He was late to his court date, and he was like one of these guys that goes around on Rumble and will just call black people slurs, provoke them, try to get them to fucking fight him, and then he'll mace them or make content. He made the whole phrase chimping out and shit like that. He called them the hard R and shit like that. And he got arrested after shooting a dude. But we found out yesterday that it wasn't self-defense, because he walked up to the guy, and when he walked up to the guy after calling his name and shit, Chud the Builder shot the guy, and then while the guy was shot, the dude beat the fuck out of Chud the Builder. Really, the other dude was in self-defense, and Chud the Builder was antagonizing the situation. And now his bond got revoked.
Online influencer Chud the Builder will remain behind bars, accused of attempted murder and linked to dozens of violent videos online. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
It's funny because this is in Tennessee, and you think Tennessee would just be racist and like be like, yeah, fuck it, let him go. But he was being so overtly racist that they had to do something about this shit.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. News 2's Lexi Wilson explains what happened in a Davidson County courthouse this morning.
Dalton Etherly, better known as Chud the Builder, enters a Davidson County courtroom.
Bro ruined his whole life. It's crazy how the internet it spits you up and chops you out, or wherever the fuck they say. That should be fucking you up, man. That's why I try to be careful on the internet. I just spread... Well, I wouldn't say it's all positivity, because I fucking hate Israel on the internet and shit. But it's like, don't just try to live for clout. Don't just try to do things that are going to just cause people to get mad at you and blowing up that way. Because you're going to take it too far. And then look, you're going to be living in a 4x4 cell. No, he didn't ruin shit. This is exactly the speed run. I mean, it was what he was aiming for sure.
Wednesday.
But I mean, for all the kids out there, you don't want to be like this. And I see copycats of this dude on X and people out here trying to do this shit. And like, this is what happens. You don't want to be in jail. Jail is hell, man.
Media influencer facing charges in Nashville after he refused to stop live streaming inside a restaurant at the Omni Hotel and then refused to pay. But the hearing today...
damn, the whole single downfall of him is so funny because it was all documented. He took it too far. Yeah. And then there's still people who are First Amendment absolutists that are like, well, I'm here for his First Amendment. The First Amendment is one thing, but him running out on a restaurant bill because he cursed and like was doing that in a restaurant and they kicked him out. Don't listen to him, guys. If you're that bigoted, jail is actually pretty fun. Yeah, if you're that bigoted, actually, maybe you should go to jail. But he originally got arrested, right? And I remember seeing this. This was months ago now. Time really flies and people forget about you. But he essentially went to like a steak restaurant, and then he had an argument with like the waiter. And I think they kicked him out and they told him to pay for the food. He didn't want to pay for the food. He got arrested and then he had to go to court. He went to court and then had this altercation with the dude. And then now he's in jail. And this is all just within a couple months span.
Mostly focused on a separate case in Montgomery County. Prosecutors played videos and reviewed social media posts made by Etherly, posted before the shooting outside the Montgomery County courthouse. They were racist and violent. The shooting played videos and reviewed social media posts made by Etherly, posted before the shooting out.
They knocked his hat clean off. Imagine shooting someone and then you shoot them in the arm and they still beat the fuck out of you after. That's what happened.
The Montgomery County courthouse. They were racist and violent.
So even social media would recognize what he's saying is improper. And improper.
I don't. And he shot himself. I forgot about that part. And I just don't understand, like, this. I believe in the First Amendment. It doesn't give a person permission to go into a person's face and insult them. Yeah. Or attack them first. And it's funny because this is a racist ass county, and they were like, even that is too racist for us, twin.
A nice word, correct? Yes. All right.
Etherly is charged with attempted murder in that case. Etherly's attorney argued the court should consider threats his client receives online.
Mr. Etherly has made complaints about people making threats to him, correct?
Yeah, but his threats online were like, I can't wait to kill these monkeys.
In fact, to the local sheriff's, well, I say local, we're in Davidson County, but to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, he's made several complaints. Yes. Including people threatening to chop his infant son's head off.
Damn, that's why he had to change his son. Something from it, and he carries himself as very elegant and ladylike. Yo, it's crazy. Right before he went to jail, his wife, she basically came out and she, not his current wife, but his ex-wife that he has a kid with, she changed the kid's whole name and totally did a restraining order on him. So and people were still trying to behead his child. And I guess that's what made it happen. But he kept going. Even though he had the kid, he's a terrible father. This is what kick will do to you, man.
In the end, the judge sided with prosecutors and revoked Etherly's Davidson County bond, citing concerns about the violent social media posts. Etherly's attorney filed a motion to dismiss the charges in Nashville, but that was not addressed today.
Mr. Etherly's looking to being held without...
Yup, he's looking to be in jail. Fuck him.
...bond on misdemeanors that he ought to have been cited for. And he's charged with a resisting arrest that I think even the state would capitulate as improper.
His next court appearance in Davidson County is set for June 25th. Etherly is also facing a $1 million bond in the Montgomery County shooting case.
Sheesh. Sheesh.
More than 300.
Oh shit, he raised hella money though. That's kind of crazy.
$1,000 and counting. Donations continue to pour in for Dalton Etherly, the controversial influencer known as Chud the Builder.
Known for using the N-word and other provocative language to spark a reaction, he now faces charges of attempted murder for shooting a black man in Clarksville. But it's how he has turned the controversy into cash before and after the shooting. It's raising a lot of questions, and News Channel 5's investigates Levi Ismail's here with the story. Levi.
Yes, you know, Dalton Etherly's life.
I think that I think that the dude, Chud the Builder, they gave some type of like white supremacist or something paid a lot for his bond. And then he had a GoFundMe basically. And let me see what that says. They should ask for one. Yeah, the bond was more than $1 million, but unfortunately, they gave no bond. I mean, fortunately for us, but they also raised hella money from this fucking GoFundMe shit. Like, it's so sad to see that these racists are embodying, or they when they see this type of shit happen, they straight up just get so activated that they're willing to send money. This always happens. It reminds me of the one lady who called little baby an N-word at the park. And then she raised the GoFundMe and shit.
$1,000 and counting. Donations continue to pour in for Dalton Etherly, the controversial influencer known as Chud the Builder.
Known for using the N-word and other provocative language to spark a reaction, he now faces charges.
Mr. Vice President.
That's wild. That's wild, man. The fact that people were really willing to just raise so much goddamn money for this dude is just like unfair. Like, people could be spending all this money on all types of other things, but people are spending their hard-earned cash on this free speech absolutist, aka old school Jim Crow racist.
Charges of attempted murder for shooting a black man in Clarksville.
But I want to switch gears now to JD Vance just dropped another interview.
Mr. Vice.
And this interview looks crazy as fuck. It came out 3 hours ago. And in it, I think he gets completely fried. Let's get into it, but I have to pee again. I've been drinking mad water. Let's see what's up.
President, welcome back to Interesting Times.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So we have a really high bar for repeat guests on this show. I know that you've been doing a lot of media, right? So it's probably feels pretty easy. But here the standard is 1, the repeat guest has to be second in line, first in line for the presidency.
Okay,
right? Are you
line.
first in line? You're
That's
first
right.
in line, right? They need to have recently published a book on themes important to this show. And they also need to have recently concluded a peace deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran. So congratulations for clearing the bar.
Thank you. I've checked all 3 boxes.
You've hit the trifecta. So we're going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about Christianity and your personal journey and sort of how religion and politics fit together in America. Small topics.
I want to see what
Mr. Vice President, welcome back to Interesting Times.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I really believe that, like, we said it before, but I really think that Trump is trying to sabotage JD Vance. And he's never going to be able to run for president. I mean, look at this dude. He looks like you can't even see his fucking eyes. And then he went full Ozempic back when there was bulky JD Vance, and then he got the Palantir promotion package, and then now he looks like a straight demon. So essentially, this is the spin. Like I said before, they've been trying to convince the American people to take this L. This is a huge L. This is one of the worst policy blunders of foreign policy of all time. I mean, Vietnam War is pretty bad because it lasted 20 years, but this is super bad. Like, we destroyed the almost completely destroyed the world economy. So JD Vance is the spin guy because Trump, as you can tell, is demented as fuck. He'd probably fall asleep in this interview that he is tasked to try to sell it to the American people. Let's see if he does a good job.
Great to have you. So we have a really high bar for repeat guests on this show. I know that you've been doing a lot of media, right? So it's probably feels pretty easy. But here the standard is 1, the repeat guest has to be second in line, first in line for the presidency.
Okay,
right? Are you first in line? You're first in line, right? They need to have recently published a book on themes.
Yeah, he has his book with the AI ass cover.
Important to this show. And they also need to have recently concluded a peace deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran. So congratulations for clearing the bar.
Thank you. I've checked all.
We can't really call it a peace deal already. I mean, they're pretty optimistic about this, but we literally saw just earlier that Israel said that they're not going to stop. So he's either going to be a W or he's going to get an L. But either way, it's going to be hard for him to run for president after this shit.
3 boxes.
You've hit the trifecta. So we're going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about Christianity.
These dudes love, oh my God. These dudes love their damn books.
Your personal journey. And sort of how religion and politics fit together in America. Small topics. But we're going to start with a few questions about the Iran deal.
Okay.
Yeah, just to locate things for viewers.
This is the main shit. I don't give a fuck about all the other shit. I want to see about the deal. Because it all is to him. Even though Trump, we saw before, was at Versailles, the Palace of Versailles, signing the deal. Somehow, some way, this is all going down to JD Vance. He's changed his name 3 times. What was his name before? Damn, he's the chameleon. Vance name changes. Damn, he has. What the hell? I did not know that. James Donald Bowman, James David Hamill, James David Vance, JD Vance. Bruh, what does he have to hide? Nigga changed his name more than like a 1970s serial killer. That's what they were doing in the 70s after they caught a body and killed someone. They just changed their name to some random shit. We didn't have an actual database. It was all paper, so people just took your word for it.
We're in a moment where we have the deal. Correct. The actual thing has not yet been released. It may appear between the time we have this conversation and the time it's published, but that doesn't matter because I have you here and you can tell me what's in it. So let's start with the most.
They're really selling it, man. I can't believe when we watched previously his press conference and he was like, they're getting money. They're getting American money. Or no, sorry. He said they're not getting American money. And they're getting $300 billion. Vance has a similar story to Obama. Poor kid made it to Harvard, meet the elite. Peter invests $10 million in his company. His story is he's a Peter Thiel blood boy.
Basic question. What is in this deal that is good for America and good for the world that we couldn't...
Which is also scary, because then it's like, Peter Thiel is literally the fucking Antichrist.
...have gotten without 3 months of military conflict.
Okay. So first of all, we actually really want to get this out because it's hard to have the conversation without the full text. And
dude, he looks scary with this Ozempic look. Like, oh my God, something's unsettling about him.
I think part of the misalignment here is that in the Pakistani and Qatari systems, they don't quite have the First Amendment and freedom of the press. And so there isn't this sort of expectation that the text is going to be out there for the American people to actually interrogate.
He's coping already. He's trying to save his ass for the $300 billion and try to convince the public not to think about it.
And look at and analyze and understand for themselves. But it will be out, and we're having this conversation, obviously, on Wednesday morning.
It's Wednesday morning. Is it out?
Here's what the deal does. And the first thing is that it opens the Straits of Hormuz, which obviously has been a major source of global supply shock in both oil and gas, but also oil and gas derivative products like fertilizers and so forth. So the Straits of Hormuz are open immediately. I will say, break a little bit of news for you this morning, Ross. I don't think this has been said yet. Last night was...
Obama's in the Bush dynasty. What dynasty is... Vance belongs to the Big Mac dynasty. Just being so tied in with Trump. And the Peter Thiel fucking Blood Boy dynasty. Because he's literally just a servant of Peter Thiel.
The first night in over 100 days of conflict where the Iranians were not shooting at commercial traffic in the Straits of Hormuz. And so, we've been able to get a fair amount of oil and gas out over the last few weeks, but that has been under the protective blanket of the American military. The Iranians formally stopped shooting yesterday. And so that's a major milestone. And that's one of the reasons why oil and gas is so low.
I really want to find out what he's going to say about Lebanon. What's going to happen with southern Lebanon? Let's see.
That's number one.
Can I pause? Please. Were you concerned that there's a lot of complex elements inside the Iranian regime? Were you concerned about a world where last night the policy of the Iranian government would be no shooting at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, but someone would be shooting anyway?
Well, one of the confusions here is within the Iranian system, there's this...
I mean, y'all killed hella people, so it's like, I don't know what you're expecting.
This question of when does the deal become official? Is it when it's announced at this formal ceremony on Friday? Is it when it was signed digitally by the president of the United States? There's been some internal...
Dude, it's simple. It becomes official when you get Israel to get off of fucking Lebanon's dick and stop committing ethnic cleansing. Then we'll live and be a great old happy family,
Debate there. There's also fundamentally a communications problem. So to be clear and to be charitable, there's a little bit of an Andrew Jackson in New Orleans after the War of 1812 has already had a peace treaty signed where there are people in their system who are not even aware that the peace deal had been signed. And so a lot of complicated things going on in that system. What I would say is that while there are fractures, and those fractures were very powerful a couple of months ago, we do see some...
They're talking this deal up so hard. I mean, they're really trying to... I'm so confused because they really think that they could rein in Israel. That's the main thing. And he's acting like it doesn't really matter. Iran is really the major player that's able to stop this. When in the end, Iran's very willing to stop this. The whole thing is Israel still attacking southern Lebanon is the whole factor of whether or not this deal will work.
Coalescing with both the hardliners and the pragmatists.
Yeah, it was signed at the palace. We saw that video before. That shit was signed at the palace. I guess digitally, the other dude from the Iranian foreign minister, he signed it digitally on Zoom.
behind the idea, not just that they want a peace deal now, but that 47 years of Iran policy towards the United States has been a mistake. And when you ask, like, what has changed, I think that has changed. And so what the deal does is, in some ways, like, there are very significant wins in the MOU itself, but
there's no wins. Dude, we got belt to ass. The deal, we straight up are belt to ass. I'm going to say it again. We pulled up, spent billions of dollars a day, blew up a fucking school, ended up closing the strait, had gas prices going crazy, farmers going out of business, people not able to fill up their car because it's too expensive, accomplished literally nothing. And what do we have to show for it? Us giving them $300 billion, the art of the deal. And
the big wins are
he's saying we got some wins.
Fundamentally conditional on whether the Iranians actually transform the way that they behave vis-a-vis the region. So what it says, Straits of Hormuz are open. The Iranians will destroy the highly enriched uranium stockpile that they have.
Wait. So let's see. This is the actual breakdown. He's going to say what the breakdown of the deal is. Let's start it.
They behave vis-a-vis the region. So what it says, Straits of Hormuz are open. The Iranians will destroy the highly enriched uranium stockpile that they have, which...
Yeah, they're saying that they'll destroy it. We'll still figure that part out. I doubt it, though.
People always ask me, what's different about this versus the JCPOA? And there are all these answers I can give.
That is, just to clarify, that is the deal that the Obama administration made.
Correct. That's the Obama.
Yeah, what's the difference? The difference is we're giving them $300 billion instead of $25 billion. Also, their money, the $25 billion from the JCPOA was literally what? Like, their sanctioned money. Now we're giving them $300 billion of our money to them. That wasn't, and on top of that, $25 billion sanction.
Iran nuclear deal, and the Obama-Iran deal allowed them to generate a stockpile of enriched uranium. Our deal ensures that stockpile is destroyed and eliminated. So that's like a very, very big difference, a very important difference.
But yeah, keep in mind, this is a memorandum of understanding. So there's no actual, like, nothing in specifics that allows for us to know how exactly we're going to do this.
It's for the American people.
And is that something that has been, the destruction has actually been agreed to?
Correct.
That's not something that will be negotiated over months?
It sets a minimum methodology for the destruction. But when you say it negotiated over a period of months, this is why I always try to be clear about what this is and what this isn't is. This is...
He basically explained the JCPOA, but we paying like 3 times as much?
Not a blood oath, right? People break contracts. And my attitude is, I can be cynical at some times
not in journalism,
about what people promise.
Only in politics.
Yeah, that's right. You're in the one business, maybe, where people break their word more than in politics. But regardless, when people say, is the destruction actually in the memorandum of understanding? The answer is yes, but it's not like we sign this thing on Friday and through some act of magic, it happens. There has to be a process for doing it. We have to see that it's actually happening. And so while the memorandum...
Yeah, we need to see fucking Israel stop attacking Lebanon.
Of understanding, while the peace deal is, I think, fundamentally good for the American people, a big part of this is verifying and ensuring they honor their end of the commitment. And then, of course, and this is the final point, and I'm sure you have some follow-up questions, but there's a lot in the media about all of the things Iran gets, right? I've heard numbers, $300 billion reconstruct.
Dude, this is about to be funny. I love when he sits here and tries to explain the $300 billion. I love it.
Fund, $24 billion of unfrozen assets and all this other stuff. And, what the deal contemplates is that there will be economic benefits, to be clear.
So they will be getting the money.
Not paid for by American taxpayers. Not a cent of American money goes to Iran. But that there could potentially be economic benefits of America. Is that there will be economic...
This is the most important part that you need to hear. He says not a cent of American money goes there. So he's actively lying.
Benefits, to be clear, not paid for by American taxpayers.
He's the one sent to try to spin this to make it seem like it's not as bad as a JCPOA. By not American money. The JCPOA wasn't American money either. It was Iranian money. But this is probably just going to be we're sending money to the UAE. Is this we're sending money with extra steps?
Taxpayers, not a cent of American money goes to Iran. But that there could potentially be economic benefits for Iran paid for by investment from other countries, but only if they fundamentally...
Paid for from investment for other countries. Oh my God. Bro, they're so funny. They're so funny. That's so funny. Just pretending like we're not. I mean, he just talks a bunch of words so people don't pay attention to exactly what he's saying.
Transform their country. And so when I see people say, well, you shouldn't give them anything, I say, well, we're not giving them anything. And then they'll say, well, you shouldn't allow anybody to invest in their country. And I say, well, if the Iranian political system is transformed and how they interact with the United States of America, isn't investing in their reconstruction and redevelopment a good thing? Like if we've transformed our country, isn't that good?
Is the Iranian political system going to be transformed by this
Hell no.
deal?
We're giving them $300 billion.
Internal politics?
Well, the Iranian political system is not going to be transformed by this deal, but I think the Iranian political system has been transformed by what has happened, not just over the last few months, but over the last year.
Hey, if you on this, make sure you sub up. Sub up if you're on YouTube. Definitely drop a sub and make sure to thumbs up this vid. If you're on Twitch, you get a free Twitch subscription with your Amazon using Jeff Bezos money that you could toss my way, because it helps support independent media, because it be taking some time to make this fucking shit. So let's go.
Year and a half. I mean, one of the frustrations, Ross, that I had in just the lead up to Operation Epic Fury, which is the operation that is going on the last few months. But really, I've been in this job for a year and a half. I've been involved in these negotiations from the very beginning, is how sclerotic and impossible it was to actually talk to the Iranians. Like a fundamental question,
about Lebanon.
Their economy was at a position and who have the strongest incentives to care. Who are the people who know the most about Iran and care, understood that? So the idea of thinking about it,
from the experience of religion, from growing up in that part of it.
All right, there's one part that I actually want to talk about. It's somewhere in there. I was trying to listen to that shit, but then bro was like blabbering on and on and on. And I might end up still looking for that. There's a part where he straight up says that what?
You've just given some very eloquent descriptions of how Christianity works ideally in your own life. How does Christianity work in the Trump administration?
It doesn't.
What is Christian about the second Trump administration?
Even he knows.
Well, I mean, I think that we have pursued a series of economic policies. I would say, certainly the tax policy, that if you look at it, the distributional effects are much more focused on the middle than they are on the top compared to previous Republican administrations.
Bro, he said that it's Christian that we reduce taxes for billionaires.
We have been attacked mercilessly for a trade and economic policy that is geared around rebuilding middle-class jobs, whether they're in the services sector, the manufacturing sector, around rebuilding the middle class in the United States of America. I think if you go back, it's too early to say because we're only a year and a half into it, but I think the wage growth numbers in the Trump administration.
How is this Christian? He's talking about all this economic shit.
Suggests that we're rebuilding the kind of dignity of middle-class work and the wages that come along with it.
Wage growth before the Iran war started.
Yeah, no,
right.
100%. There has been an increase in inflation over the last few months related to the conflict in Iran. But fundamentally, if you get the wage growth numbers right, even though you're going to have shocks that exist in the economy, if the wage growth is strong, eventually that will produce better outcomes for people. But,
what?
I also think we've pursued.
It doesn't matter if the wage growth is strong if the cost of living is more expensive and outpaces it.
Family policy in a way that, like, for example, the Wall Street Journal editorial page, the old guard of the business elite has explicitly attacked us for.
Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, so we have another part where he says that, he got more and more red as the interview kept going.
I have seen a much, much more multidimensional figure. The thing I say about Donald Trump is I remember this in 2016. And in hindsight, it's just so dumb. People would say that he was dumb or that he wasn't very smart.
Bruh. I made less and paid more. I had overtime. No facts on overtime. Make that make sense. What? I made less and paid more this year. In taxes? Yeah. I mean, they definitely changed the tax rates and shit. And in general, just also, too, Yeah, you end up paying more, I guess, just by whatever tax bracket you were in. I know they switched those shits up. And also on top of it, the cost of living is more expensive. So these wages aren't going up with the overall price of goods. So it's not really something to cheer on about.
Super smart. Like he
says this is about to be glazed as fuck.
And in hindsight, it's just so dumb. People would say that he was dumb or that he wasn't very smart. He's super smart. Like he reads a lot.
Trump reads a lot. He barely stays awake.
Understands people at an instinctual level better than anybody that I've ever known. But he is a very, very, like from a pure IQ perspective, he's a very smart person. And it's interesting that so many people, like, you know, if you give Donald Trump an IQ.
Bro's saying this at gunpoint. Like he's really trying to get us to think that Trump is some astute reader.
Test with the other 45, 46 presidents that the United States has had, I guarantee he'd be either near the top or at the top. I'd have seen.
Yeah. Okay. It's a lot of weird shit going on, but that's pretty much all the news I got for today. I got a long stream today. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Make sure y'all support the channel. Make sure to follow on Twitch. Make sure to sub on YouTube and drop a sub on motherfucking Twitch also. Reading Twitter, reading Truth Social don't count either. That's all I'm saying, gang. But appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. I'm gonna start earlier, like how I did this time. I'm gonna start doing it earlier, so I finish early.